Talk Live. We're more than just talk.
Now is the time. This nation will rise up in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. This will be the day when all the cross children be able to sing with new meaning. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is the 28th day of October 2014. And no, this is not a collective hallucination. You're right. This is shot heard round the world, the most dangerous radio station this side of the galaxy. Dangerous only because we are in a constant struggle to bring you, the listening audience, the truth. At least the best way that we know how to translate it. What up, son? What up? Good evening. I gotta say, listen, before we start this evening's broadcast, I just have to say with full humility, sincerity, and honesty, thank you to the fine folks here at LA Talk Live, in particular station manager Richard Carr, for allowing us the privilege of being back on the air this evening so that we can do what we do. If you have never had the pleasure of tuning in and hearing us broadcast, hey, listen, this is an effort, this is a labor of love, this is something that we do because we sincerely believe that humanity has a chance to kind of reshape the landscape and do something different to shake up the status quo, as it may be. But in the midst of that, we have fun, right? We have a good time.
Absolutely.
Just so you know, if you have little kids sitting there close with you, we're not regulated by the FCC, so the occasional F-bomb may fly out of our mouth, especially when we are so driven by a righteous anger, or depending on how many beers are consumed within the next 2 to 3 hour period. Grasshopper.
What's up, man?
What's up, bro?
Chilling, dude.
It's like riding a bike, son.
I know, man.
You know what I mean?
Here,
You're right back. You good?
Yeah,
You feel good?
Absolutely.
All right. So listen, again, for those of you listening, thank you so much for tuning in. I know I've got people from a variety of places that are tuning in tonight. There is a new studio number that I've been handed a piece of paper here. So if you are so inclined and want to call in this evening and speak with us, you can reach us at 323-473-3100. Once again, that's 323-473-3100. And so for all intents and purposes, this is basically an impromptu freestyle edition of Shot Heard Around the World. And we're going to give it to you raw. I've got nothing planned. I've got no outline. I've just got my crew here with me, and we're going to bring it to you. You know what I mean? So, Richard Carr, how are you, sir? I know you want to get on the mic. I got to get you on.
I wanted to thank you first and foremost for complimenting me on my looks today. You said the fine people here at LA Talk Live, and I took that very personally, and thank you very much.
Well, I mean, look at me, bro.
I would have shaved if I'd known you'd say that.
Well, I mean, you know, we've aged somewhat since the last time we broadcast.
Thank you for mentioning that. You said I looked good the other day.
You look great.
I know you were holding some things back.
No,
okay.
you look fantastic.
Thank you very much.
And if you ever want to come down to Florida, as you can tell by looking at me, I have also found the Fountain of Youth that Ponce de Leon once upon a time found on the Cape of Florida there.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But again, thank you for having us here.
Well,
I came and saw Richard, you know, and he was like, you guys got to come and do a show. And sure enough, here we are.
Let me just give you this. Yeah, let me give you the raucousness.
We'll take it.
We're so glad to have you back, first and foremost, man. It won't be as long as we'd like, but the opportunity to have you come by the studio today to do a live broadcast was just, you know, it had to be done.
Seemed like it made sense.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, you said something to Grasshopper a moment ago about riding the bike. And you guys jumped right back into it as if you were only off for a month.
Well, let's reserve those high critiques until the end of the show.
Yeah,
we still got a lot of broadcasts to do, so we're gonna see how much time we can fill up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
So you know, I'm just, you know, this first segment, we're just gonna kind of hang out, and before we get too serious, again, I don't have anything in terms of an outline, but God knows that when you do, and I hate to use the term political talk show, but when you do a show that deals with current events, you're never at a loss for things to talk about, and you know, we kind of left our show. We broadcasted the last time, gosh, almost 3 years ago. And so when I reflect back on all of the things that we were talking about at that time, and then kind of look how they have come to fruition in one degree or another, a lot has changed. A lot of things are going on, and so there's definitely going to be a lot to talk about this evening. But Grasshopper, you're still going to school. You're still doing your thing.
Yeah.
You're still Filipino. I mean, you can't beat that.
And he
son.
virtually looks the same.
He does. Well, you know that's that good Asian blood. Son.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I think we should call this radio show Benjamin Button, because we all going backwards. Son. You know what I mean? Unless we're just again experiencing a collective delusion, which is more than possible.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying? But I told you this, there's a good friend of the show, Juan Carvajal, who I had the opportunity to go and spend some time with today, and he told me, Stin, before I got here, because he's a shaman. He's been out to Peru a few times, and he's participated in what's called an ayahuasca ceremony, which ayahuasca, for those of you that aren't familiar, it's basically an indigenous root that has hallucinogenic qualities, and it's kind of like a rite of passage. The natives out there, they take this and they go and, I guess the cliche way to describe it is they go and find their spirit animal. They travel into the netherworld and are, you know, encountered with all this different stuff. But anyway, he's been trying to get me over his house for a while to do like a healing session where he kind of opened up the chakras and everything. And I gotta say, it was quite an experience, and I think it was appropriate that I did that prior to being on the air tonight, because he basically said, "Hey, you're broadcasting tonight. Just go out there and just let it flow, let it be." You know what I mean? And so that's what we're trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I've been away. I've been in sunny Central Florida, Orlando, Florida. It's been good to me so far. Weather's nice. Cost of living is significantly lower than it is here in the great state of California. But it's good to be back. It's like I never left, with the exception of I got a new hairstyle and a few more grays in the beard. But other than that, I think it's going to be a good show. There is an element of the show missing this evening, unfortunately, and that's Super Mario, who could not be with us due to parental responsibilities that superseded his ability to be here tonight. But he's with us in spirit, and I'm sure he's listening at home. And if he is so inclined,
make him sound like he's dead.
No. He's just not here, son. He's not here. We can't even play that. Din, 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 din,
Hey,
din.
we still play it.
We might have to. Yeah, I might have to.
We are going to play.
I might have to take on the persona of Super Mario and like do his little segment or something. You know what I mean? But
Big up Super Mario.
yeah, big up. So listen, this is how the show is going to run tonight. For those of you listening, we don't have anything really segmented. We talk, we take a break. We play lots of really cool music. So if you tune in and you hear 5, 6, 7 minutes worth of music, don't worry. We are coming back to broadcast. It's just we gather our thoughts, we eat a few chips, drink a few beers, hand out a few high fives, and do what we do.
That's right.
Yeah. So with that being said, we thank you so much for tuning in wherever you may be tuning in from. One more time, the studio line here is 323-473-3100. We'd love to hear from you. And hey, just remember, we here at Shot Heard Around the World, we don't have all of the answers. We're just not afraid to ask all the right questions. And with that in mind, once again, this is Shot Heard Around the World. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Exposing the agenda of the elite. It's Shot Heard Around the World.
I'm ready to go. Before I get to the baby, that's a problem. 'Cause I'm way too scared to call, and you might get me to stay now. I don't really mind the drive, but I think I'd probably die in Oakland, with my hands on doing things, so I guess it all depends on Oakland, and I'm nervous, truth be told, I never saw me growing on in Oakland. And if I buried you tonight, it would probably start a riot in Oakland. Everything that I needed, God, I got you in your feelings. Everything you want to say, you tweet it. And a nigga don't like that shit at all. So treat it. Can we just roll with the feeling? Can we just roll for a minute? Wait a minute. Foot on the gas. I'm just trying to pass all the red lights and the stop signs. I'm ready to go, but I'm really not ready, girl, that's a problem. 'Cause I'm way too scared to fall, and I know you choose to stay now.
All the girlfriends saying here we go again. Rich kid, but he act like a gentleman. Last one didn't end like it should have been. 2 days and he still wanna get it in. And they saying it's because of the internet. Try once and it's on to the next shit. X or the old face on your exes, right? And we can do the same thing if you wanna have at it when your thoughts can't breathe and you're thinking asthmatic and you wanna be a mom. And I wasn't bad at it, I was thinking about me. I'll be really bad at it cause I'm thinking about me. Weeks in Dubai, 4th of July, House of Kauai, yeah we can try. So let's
said, you already know, nigga, you don't got a flow. Before rap, you don't really got dough. Before rap, you don't really see snow. In the kitchen, about to make some magic. Then blow it all in magic. Pull up in my partner in traffic. Gave it to him, it was all in plastic. All I know, I ain't trying to go to jail. Heard that shit, close thing to hell. When the step don't make it hard to sell. When you been where I been, make it hard to fail. Cause I'm the realest nigga in this. Y'all know first nigga hit magic in that 645. Valley say jizzle niggas stand new shit, but everybody back, cause that nigga can't drive. Doors open up, I merged with 10 chains. Even back then, it was calling me 10 chains. Ask me what I spend, I tell them it's no thing. If I had it added up, it'd cost me like 10 things. We used to take a little show money, just throw money. If it's on the flow, nigga, it's the flow money. If you brought it out the blow, when you got it from the blow, then that's why the fuck they call the shit blow money. Still the realest nigga in this, y'all know it. Kept it 100 to the day I came through. My nigga hit me up, say he going out of town, so I threw him 50,000, told him bring me back too. Not only have my fingers crossed, I prayed, call a little piece up, got laid. Then he walked in, threw them both on the table, said fuck that shit, young nigga get paid. Then I whipped the Benzo on the Renzo. Stay down, nigga, yeah, I'm talking 10 toes. Posted me in this big pretty motherfucker, bet I leave the parking lot with a about 10 hoes. Yeah, he stacked 7 feet tall, swear it looks white like a wall. What you know about thumbing through the 100s, 20s, and the 50s, spin the 10s and the 5s at the mall? I see it all.
2020 Pyrex vision, catching contacts standing next to my kitchen. Hit a 20, 50, 100s, the money machine clicking in my rolling game, ticking, I bow.
I done seen it all.
Uncle died on the spot. Pop killed the family with heroin shots. Real shit. Gave my life to the block. Figure I get shot, at least I die on top. Real shit. I came alive in the drop. Big body, all white shit. Looked like a yacht. Real shit. Got a 5 grand a pop. Had a plug in St. Thomas on the Trillion Watts. Flew him back to the States Park. 92 bricks in front of 560 State. Now the next is stone throw from where I used to throw bricks. So it's only right I'm still tossing around nicks. Probably bought your auntie a couple bags. I probably front your uncle a couple halves. Was in the S class, you was just in class. You knew I was finna blow like a meth lab. Expanded the operation out in Maryland. Me and Emery Jones in the caravan. Took the show on the road out in VA. Dropped a couple off with Roller in the
The answer to no one. We give a big finger to the major corporations. This is shot around the world on LA Talk Live.
Tell me shit about this dope gang, about this cocaine, man.
I done seen it all. Yeah, he stacked 7 feet tall, swear it looks white like a wall. What you know about thumbing through the 100s, 20s, and the 50s, spin the 10s and the 5s at the mall? I done seen it all.
2020 Pyrex vision, catching contacts standing next to my kitchen. Hit a 20, 50, 100s, the money machine clicking in my rolling game, ticking, I bow.
I done seen it all.
Yeah. Alrighty, thanks for staying tuned in with us. If you're just tuning in, you are not mistaken. This is not a rebroadcast. This is live here on the air at LA Talk Live. This is Shot Heard Around the World. I'm your host, Adam Dutch Cole. Riding shotgun with me, of course, as always, is my main man, Grasshopper, in the place to be. And running the boards is the one and only legendary, illustrious, hailing straight out of Philadelphia, Richard Carr.
Rich.
They should have never given you niggas money. Yeah. All right, so we back in here, son, and it feels good. It feels damn good. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and we're going to see how much time we can fill up without having any particular agenda. And I think that is what we offer in terms of information. You know, most of the mainstream media information that you receive is all talking points. It's all information that is designed to basically, A, scare the shit out of you, and B, keep us at odds with one another, because ultimately a nation full of critical thinkers and people who are looking to do things like pay their bills and provide safe environments for their children to grow up in, those are the things that are really important to us. And so, you know, we're here, we do what we do, and we've been doing this a long time. For those of you that have been with us, you know, back when we were broadcasting a couple of years ago, you know that this radio broadcast is really an evolution of something that I've been doing at my home for many years. I've invited people over, not so much to try to get people to, you know, think the way that I think, or
buy
to
Tupperware.
Well, no, not Tupperware parties, not Avon parties, but just, you know, I like to engage people in intellectual dialogue with regard to things that they may not be accustomed to normally speaking about, but things that ultimately affect us all. And so I believe that we as individuals, we as human beings, we have something that is encoded within our DNA. We have a wonderful spark, if you will, and I think that spark has kind of been co-opted and hijacked, and from a lot of different angles, if you will. And so, again, we live in an information age. You know, there was the industrial age, there was the age of enlightenment, but now we are in the age of information. And information is a very powerful thing. And so now, with the way that technology is, we can reach billions of people instantaneously with the same information. And so that in itself is a very powerful tool. And so, you know, we talk about a lot of different things on this program. Some can call it, you know, within the realm of conspiratorial. We are very critical of some of the things that happen on the world stage. For example, you know, we've talked about 9/11 and how that whole thing looks like it could have potentially been a false flag event. But again, when you have the ability to disseminate news to people instantaneously, whether by going through the TV or even now with these little handheld devices that we have, that we all have, that some of us will wait in line at, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning to get a brand new one, which I find ironic, because once upon a time, you know, secret black ops organizations, the Gestapos, they would have to, you know, sneak in your house when you weren't there and bug your premises. And now we willingly go and stand in line and pay for the very devices that allow us to give all that information. So in essence, we've no longer fallen to the realm of humanity. We've become pretty much an algorithm, if you will. And so, you know, all this data is stored and all this other stuff. But before we go any further, I just want to give out the studio number again, because I was hit up on my device that I was talking about here from a couple of people who said, "Yeah, I'm scared to call in." Listen, there's no right or wrong thing to say. The beauty of this is that you don't have to be a professional. Shit, I'm not a professional. I'm just somebody who has taken some time over the span of my life to try to pay attention and ask questions, to try to understand how things work. And in the process of doing that, I have developed what I like to call somewhat of a sense of obligation to kind of talk with people, to say, hey, you know, we live in a time where we need to all collectively pay attention to what's going on. History is such that it's shown us that, you know, tyrannical governments, the nature of power, corruption, it is a very true thing. And we live in a society, you know, America is a pretty much, we've been in the bubble for the last, you know, 180, 190, 200 years, whatever you want to, you know, whatever time frame you want to put on it. And just outside of the borders of this great nation is still chaos. tyranny, people that are still subjects, people that are still serfs, people that still have to answer to some plutocracy or oligarchy or some tyrant who is dictating their life from some far-off, unreachable castle. And so we need to be in the Watchtower, and that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been in the Watchtower for many, many years, and again, just going back to what I was talking about earlier, this is really just an evolution of what I used to do once upon a time in my home. And as a matter of fact, Grasshopper, I still do this at my home. I've moved to Florida 2.5 years ago, and nothing really changed other than the zip code. You know what I mean? I still I invite people over to my home with the hopes of sparking something, getting people to think. And not even so much getting to think, but getting them to recognize the power that they have as an individual. And that's what we need. We need people to not be afraid, to not be able to tap into the potential that they have. We all have unique gifts. We all have the ability to do certain things. And so I'm trying to create communities of people that recognize that and then want to affect their respective spheres of influence.
So how are those meetings going? Like, what are some of the kind of things you guys do there?
Well, you know, the meetings are so the thing about getting people to come around is because we live in such a entertainment-based society, it's kind of hard initially to get people over. So I've had probably, I'd say in the last 2.5 years, anywhere from 10 to 12 meetings. And what you come to find out as you have these meetings, that there's always a core group of people who kind of rise to the top. The cream kind of rises to the top, and so you kind of figure out who's really interested and who is really awake. And so I would say at this point I've got about 5 or 6 hardcore people. And it's interesting that you find that there are people that are awakened, if you will, if you want to use that cliche terminology, but they all are awakened by one particular aspect of it. I've got a buddy who's really into the whole food aspect of the tyranny, and he does demos at like Whole Foods, and so his passion is really educating people about the dangers of preservatives and aspartame and all that kind of stuff, and how it has just an absolute detrimental effect on your ability to fight off diseases and that kind of stuff. And so to me, that's a big one, because you can choose to champion any cause, but at the end of the day, if you're not healthy, then you're really doing yourself and whatever cause you're championing a disservice, because you're not going to be around long enough to do anything about it. I've got another good friend of mine who is certified bushcraft, and basically what that means is that he knows how to survive out in the wild. And so he's come over to the house and done things like shown us how to set up an A-frame trap, which is, you know, kind of bending a tree branch down and tying a noose around it and covering it up with leaves and kind of making what's the word I'm looking for, like a canal to kind of lead the livestock into, and then once they trigger the thing goes around its neck and you catch yourself some food. You know what I mean?
Some wild hog.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about being in Florida is that it's a much different environment, obviously, than it is here in California. And that's a great segue into this. One of the determining factors or main reasons that I chose to leave California, and we talked about it all the time, is that I got really freaked out when the tsunami happened, when the big earthquake hit in Japan, and when I saw the level of devastation. And so I came to a realization that, wow, I live in California, I live on a major fault line, like that could potentially happen here. Yeah. And so I really had to analyze my level of preparedness, especially because I'm a father, I have kids, whatnot. And so when I took a long, hard, and I was I was intellectually honest with myself, I realized that, damn, if some shit were to crack off, like I would not be prepared to sustain life for my family. So, and then of course doing this radio show, again, I've been into alternative history. I've been into, call it what you want to, the conspiratorial view of history for since I was 17 years old. But the thing about it is that once I started doing this radio show, my level of research had to increase exponentially, because now I'm on the air, and the potential for somebody calling me to wanting to have a conversation, you have to be able to be, you have to be able to cite certain things. And so as my knowledge base increased as a result of the radio program, I really then started to look at my surroundings in terms of, all the potential things that could happen and could go wrong, where there could be some sort of financial collapse, which is a very real possibility, or again, even just a natural disaster of some sort, some biological weapon going off, anything. And so living in a major metropolitan city where we in Southern California pretty much depend on Northern California for the bulk of our water. And, of course, you all know California is experiencing a terrible drought. And our power all come from other places. So in the event that some chaotic thing were to happen, you pick, take your choice, a solar flare, anything, knocks out the power grid, whatever. This place is going to be a bit chaotic. And there's not a lot of resources. Tony sings it never rains in Southern California. Well, it rains every goddamn day in Florida. So if I needed to catch rainwater, I could do that. If I needed to go out in my backyard and shoot one of them big-ass birds and throw it on the barbecue grill, I could. So in terms of resources, there's a lot more, and I'm in a lot less congested, condensed environment in Florida. So those were some of the determining factors that really, mind you, I love California. I've lived here a long time. I got all my people and family here, but comes a point in your life where you have to really analyze your situation and say, damn, if something were to go awry, what would I do? So that also is really a main driving force behind the meetings that I have. Is it's not only to engage people with regard to what's going on, but it's also solutions based in terms of, like, we need to form a community of people in the event that something goes awry. We need to have each other to be able to, in our respective areas of profession, to be able to sustain. The lone wolf isn't going to survive very long in a chaotic scenario.
I was wondering if you saw a recent episode of Real Sports where one of the new trends in this country, particularly out in places like Utah, Colorado, the great Midwest, as they might say, is a new trend called Eat What You Kill. And the idea behind this is when or let's just say the believers behind this are people who have become aware of the way that food is processed in America, the cruelty to the animals, the unsanitary conditions. The whole campaign with McDonald's, free plug for you, give me $1 million, why don't you?
Right.
About what's in your food.
Right.
Well, the people who are believers of Eat What You Kill are those who become hyper aware of the dangers of the food, the meats, let's just say in this case. So what they do is they hunt, like good old-fashioned people used to do, and they kill the food, the meat that they want to eat. It's minimalistic, right off the top, because you're not buying a whole cow to feed your family for just a few days. You don't have massive food production plants, meat production plants that murder these animals in fear en masse. Same thing with fowl, chicken, the birds we eat, the way that food is processed. So when you get a chance, look into that, because particularly in your case, living where you live, it is interesting that you could do more hunting.
Sure. Yeah. More hunting and just more. I mean, it's amazing to me. Like, I can't believe that we in this country, someone doesn't say, why doesn't everybody in the country grow a garden? Everybody should learn once again.
Raise some chickens.
Yeah,
I mean, that doesn't mean
I've
go
been
buy a
talking about
gun.
that. I've been talking about, like, I'd like to get a couple of chickens. Joe Rogan, who's got a really good podcast, like, he's raising chickens and he's doing some really cool shit. He goes out bow hunting and shit like that. And I'm like, wow, that's
learn to
fish.
fish.
Listen, we as a species
How
are
about learning to fish?
Yeah, no, I fish. I used
lost
to
practice.
take my
What
kids, and
the
I haven't gone
hey?
camping since I've moved to Florida. But that's some of the things that I've been talking about with my group. The people that come over to the house, I say, hey, now that we've met a couple times, let's go out camping. Let's refamiliarize these younger people what it is to be out and what it is to fish and what it is to catch your own food and how to live off of the land. And we've lost touch with some of the primal hunter-gatherer aspects of who we are. And we'll get more into this when we come.
Shoot a squirrel and eat it.
Yeah, but
kill a rattlesnake and fry it.
All that stuff. It's all available to you.
What's wrong with it?
Right. And we'll get back into that after we take this short break. But, I mean, listen, folks, we as a species as human beings, we have been domesticated. We have lost our way. In if you get where I'm going, we have completely lost touch with the land, with the seasons, with all the things that once upon a time, that's what made us who we were. So when we come back after this short break, we're going to continue on. All I can say is I'm happy if you're tuned in. The studio line here, 323-473-3100. And I don't even know what time it is, but we're going to be here all damn night, son. We're doing it. We got a lot of shit to say. I want to talk about Ebola. I want to talk about fear-mongering. I want to talk about rigged elections. I want to talk about just a myriad of shit that I got to get off of my chest. And believe that as we continue on, it's going to get better and better, because you have these epiphany moments, and I'm just here with my crew and we holding it down. So with that being said, once again, we thank you for tuning in. This is Shot Heard Around the World. I'm your host, Adam Dutch Cole, and we'll be back after this short break. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Yeah, this is the Hip Hop School of Arts, y'all. And all you gotta do is dream, believe, and create. So let's go. This is the first hip hop school in the world, given to the youth in the heart of P-Town. Pomona, come through, visit the facility, take a long look. Right now we're making history. All the elements of hip hop under one roof, and you can learn every one if you want, like popping, locking, DJing, and urban art, beatboxing, and b-boying, and entrepreneurship. That's how we doing it. You see, our mission is to provide a technical trade program worldwide to transform each student's creative energy into marketable skills you seek through education, guidance, and self-expression. And I'm the one who can teach you how to MC. The Hip Hop School of Arts is the place to be, so let's go. Visit hiphopschoolofarts.org or stop by the facility at 499 North Gary Avenue in Pomona, California for more info. You can also call us at 909-622-4472. Be a part of something special.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet, and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at hubertslemonade.com. Once again, that's hubertslemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle. Xavier Tees and Tots, groundbreaking fashion, forward street smart designs. Tees and Tots for men, women, and boys. Visit XavierUSA.com. Once again, that's XavierUSA.com.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Conservative Grandpa Radio Broadcast. This is shot heard around the world.
Yeah, that's right. We're back. This is not your conservative granddaddy's radio broadcast. We're about 3 beers deep, and we are absolutely excited to be on the air with you this evening. And it looks like we got a caller. Richard Carr is signaling we've got a caller. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Margarita. I'm calling from Orlando, Florida.
Aha. Whoop, whoop. Garuda, what's going on, girl? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Felice is here, too. Say hi.
What's up?
Hi.
Hey. So how do we sound?
You sound great.
Okay, so so you asked. These are a couple of the young ladies that joined me at my home and are part of the movement. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
it's good to know that, you know, this is what it is, man. It's just a labor of love, and again, it's not. I say it all the time. I'm not an expert in any particular field. I'm just somebody who's passionate, and my way of thinking is constantly being challenged and evolving, and it's because of people like this who I get to interact with. When these people come over to my home, you know, we may agree on the exact same thing, but their perspective may just be a little bit different. And so when I hear that, it kind of fine-tunes the way that I think.
It adds to it,
Yeah. So, ladies, let me ask you a question real quick. Being that you know me and we interact, you know, quite frequently, and you've been over to the house and we've had these discussions, what would you say is of most concern to you right now in this current climate?
Just the state of the environment, the world we live in. Like, you brought us all these documentaries, made us watch them. We've come to your house. We've gone to your meetings, and it's something that's made us think. Like the last portion of your show where they were talking about how there's a new movement of people hunting and gathering their own food, but that's like the way I grew up. And
right.
That's something I've lost over time. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. My dad and my 3 brothers would hunt for most of our food. We had a garden. We raised our own livestock, and that was just a way of our life. It wasn't like a trend. It was just the way my family survived. We had a huge family. We had enough land to hunt and gather our own food. And I lost sight of it. Like, I moved to a city. I live in an apartment, and I'm 100% reliant on grocery stores. And like you would talk about growing your own food, and it's something I've never really thought about.
Well, you know, we have been. Let me give you an analogy real quick. This is something that I tell people all the time. We've kind of become like, you know, if you go to the park and there's squirrels there and you feed those squirrels every day, sooner or later those squirrels are going to become completely reliant on the fact that you're feeding them. And so we kind of live in that environment. Again, going back to what I said before the break, is that we as a species have become domesticated, and we've kind of lost touch with who we are and what it is to be self-sufficient and independent. And I truly believe that we have a fruitful land that allows us that luxury, and we need to reconnect with that. It's a powerful thing. But hey, listen, I got to get to another caller, but thank you so much for calling in, and keep listening. And hey, I'll be back on Monday of next week, and we'll keep riding. We got to get another meeting going, okay?
Cool. All right. See you next week.
All right, I'll see you.
Bye.
Boom, boom. All right.
Yo,
I think we got another caller. Who's this?
this is Distinct from Dallas, man. Your boy Greg.
Aha! Greg Stringer. Yes, DJ Distinct, the drum and bass master of Texas. What's going on, my brother?
Not much, man. I kind of wanted to reach out a little and let people know that, like, what you do isn't anything that's, as of recent, or, I hit a point in my life where I feel I need to give back to people and share and sort of be more worldly. Like, this dude Dutch has always been like that. He took me into his home multiple times, man, and just gave me a place to stay. So first
this
of all,
is crazy.
like,
When's the last time?
For that.
Nah, bro, thank you for calling in. When's the last time we actually talked like this? Like, it's been, at least over a decade, more than that, 15 years since I've actually spoken to you. Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro.
It's been at least 15 years, man, and I don't know. you've always been a very positive influence in my life. You know, I've never had a big brother, and like you've always kind of been that person to me. So I just wanted to send you a shout for that.
Bro, I'm flabbergasted, bro. I'm really humbled, man. Thank you for calling in and sharing that, bro. I appreciate that, man. You have no idea.
No problem, man. I mean, you guys are hitting some heavy topics, you know, and dealing with them with grace and ease. And I just, you know, I felt compelled to call in. But basically, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about, you know, you've got organizations these days like Cop Block, and, you know, people are filming a lot more, you know, video while they're driving and stuff. You know, everywhere you go, somebody's got a camera in their car. I personally have a couple.
Right.
And what do you think? Do you think that cameras will solve the problem? Or do you think that they'll find a way to bypass it? Or, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Sure.
My second question was, do you feel that, you know, the way not even the media these days, it's like people like you guys with a website and a live stream talking about things, kind of throw stuff out there for people to see that they don't get to see in the mainstream media. And I'm kind of curious as to whether or not you think, you know, the level of, you know, police brutality and violence that's been going on, what we may consider as of recently, do you think that is just because we have more access to information, or do you think it's always been like that?
Right. Okay. And those are powerful questions, man. Thank you. And to answer your first question, with regard to, you know, the camera aspect, and I think this is something that you and I kind of briefly discussed, and we agreed that, you know, we've both seen legislation from technology companies under the guise of protecting people's, you know, copyrights, that we could potentially, and this is the scenario, and we actually talked about this on the show years ago, but I can foresee a scenario where, say for instance, you go to a Jay-Z and Beyonce concert, the technology exists where they can emit a frequency that can disable your camera. And so that's
definitely.
Yeah, and that's a troubling aspect, because I believe that we as the citizenry need to be in the watchtower. We need to hold these people accountable. And so I think that we're seeing that. I think that we're and to kind of segue into the second aspect of your question, I even posed this question on Facebook myself. It's like, are we just seeing the brutality from the police because of the advent of technology and how everyone has these cameras, or is this something that's always gone on? And a lot of people chimed in, and there were, you know, varying opinions. You know, some people said, yeah, the corruption's always gone on and it's always been worse. You know, I don't know how to really answer that question. I think that it would go to common sense and logic that, yeah, I think that because we have the ability to, you know, record our surroundings constantly, we're able to see, and it's on display for us all to see, all of this madness. But in conjunction with that, I think that you have an environment where you have a federal government that is consolidating power, and now they are training local law enforcement to view you and I, the regular average Joe on the street, as a threat, as a domestic terrorist. I mean, I've literally seen literature handed out to the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department where they say, you know, people that have bumper stickers that are indicative of third parties, or even the fact that we should be concerned in this country where, according to the Department of Homeland Security, the #1 domestic terrorist threat is returning veterans. So how can you demonize these people that we send out abroad and put them in harm's way to defend this country and the Constitution, only to bring them back and say that they're the biggest threat to this country? So, yeah, man.
And give them nothing.
And give them nothing. And so, of course, they're going to be upset because you're not providing them with any kind of care or anything else. So, I mean, you know, it's just, yeah, bro, it's... I'm concerned about where this country is heading. I see a lot of buildup. I see a lot of infrastructure. I see a lot of legislation. I see a buildup of you know, agencies that normally would be just domestic agencies that would help in times of crisis, but they're actually arming themselves to the T. And so you have
it's
to
like
wonder,
getting ready for a fight.
and you have to wonder, right? So what's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about? And if you're not paying attention, then we should. And so I would encourage you, just like I encourage everyone that comes to my house. Like, look, I can't meet everybody in the world, but when you and I meet, I inspire you, you inspire me. I tell people that come over to my house, when you leave my house, you're going to go and you're going to have your own respective sphere of influence that I'll never get to, but it's your responsibility to affect them. And if everybody is doing that, that's really how the grassroots movement enacts real substantial change. And so if you have family that's in law enforcement or family that's in the military, like, we can't be afraid to reach out to these people with genuine concern. And so, in conjunction with that also, we also have to make sure that we're not, coming at these people and sounding fanatical. And that's a really big thing with me. I say, if you want to engage people about what's going on in the world, please at least take a little bit of time to do some due diligence to understand, some specifics so that you don't sound like a raving lunatic. There's been too many times where I've talked to young people and they say some crazy shit like, yeah, bro, but have you ever seen Kobe Bryant shoot a free throw? And you see how he holds his hands like that? It's the 666 and he's down with the Illuminati or Rihanna. And it's like, no. Please,
Yeah.
you're subscribing to disinformation. There are other things and other forces at work that you need to be concerned about that aren't driven by pop culture. You know what I'm saying? So I would encourage you. Listen, in the same breath, bro. The way that you praise me, you're also a very influential person in your own right. I see you and what you're doing in Texas, and you're a father, so that I know you have a vested interest in what's going on in the country and in the world. I would just encourage you to do the same thing, man. Like have get-togethers at your home and engage people. And again, you don't have to have all the answers, but you just have to be able to propose these questions so that we can start getting to the root of the problem, which is corruption. Ultimately, it's corruption. People are infallible, and when people are driven to power, unfortunately, like Lord Acton said once upon a time, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think that we're seeing such a consolidated power that it's metastasized like a cancer, and now it's into everything from food to education to law enforcement, and we have to root it out, or we're gonna fall victim to what we were warned about from our forefathers and generations before us. Like, stay in the watchtower and be diligent. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And to touch on one other thing you said earlier, I hadn't talked to anyone about this at all because my own personal fear that they would believe that I was, one of the people that you were just talking about that doesn't do their homework and, learn both sides of the story, look in the mirror, the whole nine. They sometimes come across as a raving lunatic, like you said.
Right.
But the same reasons that you left LA just happen to be the same reason that I left LA, and we have never even discussed that before.
Right. And you went to a good place, bro.
And
Texas is great.
The nuclear power plants, the proximity to the ocean,
San Onofre down in San Diego,
giant waves. I mean, it's all probable, and I don't know. It kind of freaks me out that people would look at someone who takes all of the facts into consideration as someone who's kind of off the rocker,
Well, but you have to also understand too. I mean, there is a desire, because the mainstream media, again, going back to that whole idea of information, is very powerful. So you have a desire to demonize people who just ask questions. The very fact that we live in, for all intents and purposes, at least what I thought was a free democratic republic where we should analyze all the information, but if you provide an alternative to the official story, you're automatically demonized and called a kooky conspiracy theorist. And when you have a straw man argument like that where you resort to name calling rather than having a real logical debate, I mean, that's a problem.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
And
But
people become immune too, like you were talking about earlier, the whole squirrel analogy. I personally know people that just really don't care.
Yeah,
they don't have any kids.
Sure.
And it's like, oh well, hopefully things will, be cool for another 40 or 50 years until I check out.
Yeah,
but,
man.
On the real, it's I don't know. It's difficult
I've got
to find the type of people that you're talking about to, you know, sit down, invite over to your home, and have, you know, really deep, you know, spiritual, philosophical discussions with, because they're like, I don't know. It seems like they're very far and few between.
Well, we're about to go to a break, my man. And listen, I can't tell you how much I love you, and I'm glad that you called in. But just before I let you go, bro, just don't give up hope, man. The one thing that drives me is I'm absolutely an optimist by nature, and I believe in the human spirit. I believe in our potential to do good, to create, and to better our situation. And so as a father and as a human being, I've got two choices. I can either throw in the towel and say this grand machine that I stand before, there's absolutely no way I can make a difference. Or I can try as diligently as I can to reach out and find those people. And if you keep doing it, bro, you'd be surprised, man. Everywhere I go, I talk about this stuff, and I'm finding more and more people that knows in their core that something's wrong. They may not be able to articulate it, they may not be able to put their finger on it specifically, but they know. And so if you engage those people and do it, and not necessarily spoon feed them, but just kind of engage them and get them, you know, whatever it takes,
just
bro.
Put a plate on the table for them.
Yeah,
you know?
bro, that's it, man. So with that being said, bro, hey, I'll catch up with you soon, man. We need to connect in a deep way.
Definitely, man. I miss you, brother.
All right, brother. I miss you too, man. Yo, so there it is, man. See, that makes me feel good. That makes me feel like, you know, I'm doing my job.
Yeah, man.
Somebody that I haven't spoken to in many, many years. Listen, I'm not doing this for any kind of, once upon a time when I got into this, I was very ego-driven. I was very much about the idea that you need to believe what I'm saying because I've done the research, and if you don't believe me, then you're fucked up. Now it's like, man, I'm just a messenger. I plant seeds. I plant a seed in the ground. If the ground is fertile and it takes root, boom, there it is. Nature does its course. All I try to do is create frames of reference for people so that as this chaotic world continues to spiral out of control, they can look and they say, wow, this is what that motherfucker was talking about. He wasn't lying. So with that being said, this is Shot Heard Around the World. I am your host, Adam Dutch Cole. We're going to take a short 5-minute music break, and we will be back on Attack.
Riding a semi packed with the truth down the information superhighway, it's Shot Heard Around the World.
to a nigga who ain't paying me. Cause I ain't with that hoe shit. So if you thinking about fucking me, nigga, you better try some more shit. Cause I done paid my dues and like a fool in the process. Watch another nigga progress on the motherfucking shit I did. But in the 90s it's payback and I ain't taking no shorts, kid. Cause life is a bitch and I ain't that nigga to be broke while I'm making another motherfucker rich. So wise up, nigga, get with the program. Cause in this dirty game you gotta wash your own hands. And I got a Tech 9 ready to take mine. It was for me, ho, yeah. No nuts, no glue. Now I done heard a nigga say they calling me the biggest bitch in Texas. Cause I'm bumming a ride when I should be driving Lexus. But you know I gives a fuck about what niggas say. I handle mine by handling shit my own way. I let niggas think it's cool to fuck a nigga like me, but they don't know that they sinking fool. See, I stay low key, letting the nigga think he know me, but he really don't know me, G. Claiming that we friends when my little girl is riding a bus and this little girl is riding a fucking Benz. Who's your friend? Ask yourself that shit. The only friend I got is my fucking pistol grip. Guilty, which I know you love it. I done made your ass fat and you still talking about 25 off 100. Be real, that shit went out in 86. I'm down with the ghetto boys, but my mind ain't playing tricks, bitch. Still refuse to give me mine, cool. Nigga, be that way, and I'ma handle my business, fool. Just like my nigga Snoop Dogg told me, you gotta get down for your shit while you can, homie. And you's about to get your ass lit up, cause the fucking ain't problem when I ain't the nigga that's catching the nut. Payback is a motherfucker, payback is a bitch, but payback is a must when I ain't the nigga that's getting rich. Cause life ain't but one big chance, and unlike these other motherfuckers, I ain't scared to touch your bitch ass. Cause if you believe in fucking niggas, you's a hoe, and the Peter man can't tolerate hoes, so you got to go. Mr. Big Man, Mr. Big Nut, got everybody thinking you the shit, but really I'm the motherfucking one. So I'm about to grab my shit off the shelf and go on a mission. One nigga getting busy by his damn self. So keep on thinking you fucking me, but while you thinking, I'll be pulling your fucking number, G. Cause I'm a nigga with no heart and no walls, getting down for mine, bitch. No nuts, no glue.
handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Yeah, this is the Hip Hop School of Arts, y'all. And all you gotta do is dream, believe, and create. So let's go. This is the first hip hop school in the world, given to the youth in the heart of P-Town, Pomona. Come through, visit the facility, take a long look. Right now we're making history. All the elements of hip hop under one roof, and you can learn every one if you want, like popping, locking, DJing, and urban art, beatboxing, and b-boying, and entrepreneurship. That's how we doing it. You see, our mission is to provide a technical trade program for why? To transform each student's creative energy into marketable skills you see through education, guidance, and self-expression. And I'm the one who can teach you how to MC. The Hip Hop School of Arts is the place to be, so let's go. Visit hiphopschoolofarts.org or stop by the facility at 499 North Gary Avenue in Pomona, California for more info. You can also call us at 909-622-4472. Be a part of something special.
Hubert's Lemonade, tasty, refreshing, sweet, and tart. Happiness in a bottle. Visit Hubert's Lemonade at hubertslemonade.com. Once again, that's hubertslemonade.com. Happiness in a bottle. Xavier Tees and Tots, groundbreaking fashion, forward street smart designs. Tees and Tots for men, women, and boys. Visit XavierUSA.com. Once again, that's XavierUSA.com.
Hi, this is Tika Lark Fleming inviting you to join me every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for MP Chronicle Presents The Black Girl Show. Join us as we discuss politics, pop culture, and the other side of Black LA. So don't forget to tune in to MP Chronicle Presents The Black Girl Show every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, exclusively on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Are the resistance. You're tuned in to Shot, heard round the world.
Yeah. Niggas talking that shit, but they just don't know that we rock this microphone. Off the top of the dome, when they rock that shit, we tell them to leave it alone. We too damn fly with them, we rock shit, we ride with them. Snoopy Dogg in the place to be represent when we fly with them. Okay, we back. Oh, that's just bullshit. That's what happens when you get excited. So when you just feel the energy, you know what I mean? Like, this is good. This is all good. Welcome back. This is Shot, heard around the motherfucking world. And if you don't know where the nature of that, the title comes from, I'll quickly indulge you. There is folklore associated with the Revolutionary War. The British soldiers came down to Concord, Lexington, and tried to take the guns from the colonists. And the legend is that there was a great standoff, and one of the colonists let a shot off. And that was called Shot Heard Around the World, which was the catalyst for the beginning of the Revolutionary War. And so I found that folklore fascinating, and so because this is a revolution of sorts, a peaceful revolution, mind you, we do not condone violence of any kind, but we do believe that we are in a war. And war is a dangerous thing, but we are in an information war. And so we try to equip our soldiers with the truth, whatever means that comes to you. We try to equip you with the knowledge that you are the resistance, that you have value, your life has meaning and substance. Do not believe the lies that they will tell you, that all you're worth is a paycheck and you go to work and you just live a mundane life. That's not how life is intended to be lived. So with that being said, okay, I'm going off track. What up, y'all? We back in the studio. I got Snoop. I got my compadre Snoop in la casa. What's up? Say what's up, bro.
What up?
Okay, so we growing, and I think that as we go, see, this is right now it's kind of like a beacon, and we're emitting a frequency, and so I think that more people are going to be showing up at the doors as we continue to broadcast. So what's up? I hope everyone is doing well. If you're just tuning in, we are broadcasting live here from the fabulous studios at LA Talk Live, 9100 Sepulveda Boulevard, in the heart of the West Coast. Throw your dubs up. Can I get some cheers? It's good to be back home in the West. You know, it's funny. I throw the dub up more now in Florida than I did when I was here. I hit everybody up, son. I'd be walking up the escalator, boom, I'd be hitting them, son. West Side, fool. Let them know. All right. So, man, that was great. That last segment, I got a call from a really good friend of mine who I haven't had the opportunity to speak with in quite some time. So it was very humbling to know that he is paying attention and that he felt compelled to call in and, you know, just talk with us. And so first string, I appreciate it, man. I hope you're doing well. You and your family are doing well out there, bro. But we're back, and so I want to kind of change gears here and get into some current events. You know, what's the hot topic right now, folks? Ebola is a virus that was born somewhere in Africa as a result of fruit bats, or however the story goes. And so we now, on this particular day, what do we know so far? We know that there's been an outbreak in West Africa, that places like Liberia and Sierra Leone are dealing with a great travesty at the moment. And so we've sent some people over there, and as a result, we had a gentleman, what was his name, Eric Thomas Duncan, or whatever his name was, for all intents and purposes, came here illegally to visit someone and had already contracted the Ebola virus. And so as a result of that, we had 2 nurses that also contracted the virus there at that hospital where he was being cared for, and unfortunately died a short time later. And so now the latest thing is that there is this doctor, I guess, in New York City who broke his own self-imposed quarantine and went out and rode a couple of trains and went out bowling in Brooklyn, and here you go. So needless to say, and I kind of want to pose this question to you guys, is the hysteria justified? Do we need to be concerned about this, or is this just media hype? Is there a different agenda? Is there something else going on? Like, what do you guys think about what's going on with this?
I don't know, man.
That's a great answer, bro. It's a good thing that I'm the broadcaster and you're the producer.
I'm like, man, I've never had these before. I'm sorry, these Mambas.
Oh, okay. This portion delicious. Of Shot Heard Around the World is brought to you by Mamba. We're gonna get you some. We're gonna get you some Mamba. We're gonna get you some. But so okay, I'll give you my take on it. Like, you know, obviously we've only had a handful of cases, three cases here in the United States. So is it, you know, worthy of concern? Yes and no. You know, and what's crazy too is that as these stories unfold, you always hear all these really far-fetched, and again, I don't know if they're far-fetched. I think they're worth posing the questions and looking into it. But I've heard all kinds of crazy things, like you know, people coming out from places in West Africa and saying that no, the virus is not spread by human contact. It's the Red Cross, and they're vaccinating us Africans, and we're contracting the virus that way, and it's a population control aspect. And
you heard that, seriously?
Absolutely. You hear all this stuff, man, and so you have to
sift through it.
You have to sift through it.
Well,
man. You have
there
to
is quite a bit of noise about that right now.
Right.
If I may interject.
You may.
Thank you very much, and pardon the interruption.
It's not an interruption. It's an addition to the potpourri that is Shot Heard Around the World.
Potpourri. I like
you
that.
like that, right?
The smorgasbord.
Nigga. Yeah.
Well, there's quite a bit of rattle about that.
Okay.
And they are saying that there is a global push towards a vaccination.
Yeah.
And inoculation. Mm-hmm. There was a third word we came up with from my youth, all of which meant the same thing. What would become imposed requirements for us to inject ourselves with something that pharmaceutical companies are in a rush to develop.
Sure.
But there's been not enough time to study what the long-term ramifications would be.
Right.
So, you know, that's
so
not
that
just
so that poses
so
that poses the question: is the media a promotion or marketing tool for the pharmaceutical companies to fearmonger people to the point where they will willingly accept an inoculation that has not been field tested, and again, we don't know what the end results are because there's always a profit motive behind something. Right. So going back to my question, I mean, and answering it myself, I think that the nature of the virus itself is one where we should be concerned. And you and I talked about this the other night. I look at every human being on the planet as a unique petri dish. And so if the virus is to latch on to your system, it could possibly and potentially mutate into something else. And so I think the two biggest concerns are, is it A, could it go airborne? Meaning, can it survive outside of the host for a period of time, whether that period of time be seconds or minutes, right? And B, the potential exists, and it's happened in the past, where someone contracts the virus, become a carrier, never exhibit the symptoms, and never technically become sick. And they walk around for months, and no one knows the source of where the people are being infected
They're still
from.
spreading it, though.
So I guess in the big scheme of things, those are the things that I'm concerned about. Now, I will say this. It is very troubling, the degree of absolute bumbling, if you will, that has been exhibited by the CDC. Right, so there are protocols in place, there are mandates in place when you have an infectious disease such as this that could potentially spread and cause a pandemic. There are certain things that you do. The CDC has done, for all intents and purposes, the exact opposite of what those protocols would be. So when this news story first broke, you had countries such as the UK, Saudi Arabia, France, even some neighboring African countries that completely shut off all flights coming into their country from those destinations. Why did we not follow suit? Why do we continuously bring people that are already infected with the disease back into this country? That's not the standard protocol.
Well, because the Constitution allows every American, foreign, domestic, or otherwise, to come home. Because once you reach the land of America, your constitutional rights are guaranteed for freedom of movement. There is a nurse who came back who showed no symptoms, was completely asymptomatic, yet they quarantined her, or attempted to, and she threatened to sue.
Well, this was in New Jersey with Governor Chris Christie, and
they
so that's the debate right now. Does the federal government have the right to dictate to the states when the states want to impose their own quarantine? So okay, you want to get into the debate about rights. I understand what you're saying about people's rights.
May we go deep
Absolutely,
on this topic, because it goes beyond.
So my question is, though, is it, though those people have rights, do I not also have the same right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness without fear of some form of outside entity messing with that? So what I'm saying in essence is that, okay, so if you have traveled from a country that is experiencing this epidemic and we bring you back here, don't I as a citizen also have the same protection from that person? So doesn't that person kind of have to go through that quarantine? Because those are the standard scientific protocols that are dictated, that are mandated by science, that say, hey, if we don't want this thing to spread, there's an incubation period. We need to put you aside for not only your own good, but for the good of everybody else that could potentially contract this deadly disease that has a 70 to 90% mortality rate.
So I think the distinction here, though, is that in this nurse's case, she was completely asymptomatic and continued to be, and continued to test negative for the Ebola virus.
How many days? Did they mention how many days?
Well, the standard protocol is 21.
But you see, but
said, wait a minute,
they're changing that.
I've tested negative and I'm asymptomatic.
Right.
Why do you have me in this tent? And she sued, and the government had to relent. So listen, we all have rights. You have the right to know if there's a pedophile moving into your neighborhood.
You're damn right.
You have a right to know if there's a sexual predator or a rapist. You should have the right to know. Well, I'll stop there. Let's just say that. You have the right to know if someone coming into your community can infect you with a highly pernicious disease, organism, however you want to term it.
Right.
You have the right to know that, but they have rights too, and that's why they are litigated in this country.
So I'll ask this question. Do you think that, so from what I understand, the states New Jersey in particular, are imposing these quarantines because of the
states have those natural rights.
No, they do have those rights, and, and the rights always go to the states.
In the same way that.
But what I'm saying is that I think that the reason that they have imposed this is because they feel that the federal government is not doing what they're supposed to do. In fact, they're not only not doing what they're supposed to do, but there have been numerous examples. For instance, when the second nurse contracted Ebola in Dallas and they were shipping her off, the one that got shipped off to Atlanta or Maryland or wherever she went, she knew that she had been in contact with the gentleman in Dallas. She called the CDC and said, I have a fever, but I'm going to fly. To which they replied, how high is your fever? She said, about 99.1. They said, okay, that's not indicative of an Ebola fever. Feel free to travel. Now, who in any sane, logical galaxy would say, oh, you were in contact with this person and you're exhibiting a fever? Absolutely. Get on a plane. No problem. See, so I think that the
Yet
states...
she was diagnosed asymptomatic and tested repeatedly negative for the virus. So...
No, but she still wasn't within the. But she still wasn't within.
There is this fine line,
Richard. Even if you're in the medical profession,
you're saying to me, Dutch, that if I start coughing too much within the next few hours and tell you that I have a headache associated with a fever, knowing that I virtually live in the LAX area, and somehow could have come in contact,
I wouldn't be concerned about that.
With the sweat of someone.
There's a huge difference between you sitting in this studio right now.
But I'm saying, if I begin to exhibit
well, why would I think that? Now, if you had told me I just took a vacation to Sierra Leone and I just got back 2 weeks ago,
but then there's that
absolutely.
Too. My point being,
absolutely.
Then there's that,
so what I'm saying, if you're a medical professional and you're a nurse and you know that you had direct contact with the first person to ever die in this country as a result of Ebola. Why would you even call anybody to ask to get on the plane if you felt sick? You would think that logic would dictate I'm not getting on the plane because shit, I'm feeling sick and I was just around this motherfucker 2 weeks ago.
All right. So may I ask this question?
You may.
All right.
You may exercise your constitutional right to, yeah, absolutely, redress grievances.
So if that's the case, and here is an expert who has lived on the front line of this global pandemic. That's actually an oxymoron. This quickly spreading disease. Okay?
Right. Hasn't reached that status
right.
yet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, it has the potential to.
Well,
so that's what the concern is.
They say that in Africa it's 10,000 a week now.
And that's
that was reported about a week ago.
They're saying it could be up to 1 million by December, which is a month away.
This is why everybody is saying, and I think the overarching issue here is fear mongering and the spreading of fear.
Right.
And that is a very important point. But there is this reality to what's going on with Ebola, not just the disease itself, but how it's changing access to one's rights. Because where you might want to be informed that I just came from Sierra Leone treating patients, yet I'm an expert at it because I've been in the field. And yeah, I've got a fever, but I know this is not an Ebola fever because I know how that feels because I've seen it. And I feel comfortable flying because I need to. How in the world was she going to get back from her original
we're not talking about people
destination
flying back. We're talking about people that are flying to go visit family members. It's not an urgent thing.
And even then, you may feel the need once you're now back to go and see your family.
I get where you're going with it. I understand.
I know this is not an Ebola fever. I am an expert within myself, and I've tested repeatedly negative for the virus and am asymptomatic.
So you brought up an interesting point, and this is what I've told people.
So you're going to tell me I can't move?
No, I'm just saying I think there's a level of responsibility.
I think that's heavy-handed government on your part.
No, I think that you should. I think.
How do you proffer?
No, it's not that. I think
I'm only kidding, man.
I think that you may have seen the Ebola fever with your own eyes, but how can you say, oh, this isn't an Ebola fever? I think that responsible medicine would dictate one's movements and say, you know what, let me not put other people at risk. Let me not just listen.
And she didn't.
Better to be safe than sorry.
And
well, we don't know though. We don't know.
She's still asymptomatic. She's still tested
Okay,
negative.
but again, if we can all agree that the mainstream media has an agenda, do I necessarily believe everything that they say? I mean, I scrutinize and I look sideways at everything that I'm told. So I do have questions, and I think that they're justified based off of an ongoing, long, sordid past that shows a history of lies and an agenda. And so I'm not trying to go to the nefarious aspect and say that this is some sort of plot to depopulate the planet. But you brought up an interesting point, and this is what I'm more afraid of. I'm more afraid of the irrational fear of human beings than I am of actually contracting the virus. And what I mean by that is that this case that happened in New York right now, all it's going to take is 2-3 more cases that pop up in the surrounding area in Brooklyn. People are going to become afraid. So afraid, in fact, that I believe that they will no longer go to sporting events.
It's already happened in Dallas.
Right, or to the movie theaters, and so what happens when people start going out of their house? That affects the economy. And so that can greatly, and that can greatly affect them.
So have the riots in Ferguson.
Sure.
Affected the economy.
And that's always been one of my greatest concerns, not to change subjects. But
I don't want to change the subject.
No, but the economy. But going back, I mean, so that's my fear is that people will react irrationally and they will change their routine in terms of the way they go about their lives, and that will have a domino effect in the economy on a whole, and that could literally bring shit to a screeching halt. I can imagine waking up one day, turning on the TV, and seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average drop 4,000 points because
we've seen that.
You know what
now, the question is, doesn't this remind you of the movie I Am Legend? Because we're now
12 Monkeys, or there's a lot of.
We're now in this phase of.
See, I think. Did you hear that
travel?
Cough? Hold on, I heard a cough.
Yeah,
you're going to need to go in the booth, sir. 21 days. You can't even come out.
Bring in the crew, please. We have a caller. Actually, that's the CDC calling in right now.
Please.
CDC, thank you for calling. Shout out around the world.
What's going on? Good evening. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is your sister Andy, calling from Arizona.
Ah, my sister Andrea from Arizona. What's up, my love?
Hey, I was just calling listening to you guys talk about the Ebola nonsense that's going on.
What's your take on it?
Do you have it?
No, she doesn't have it, you ding dong.
You have Ebola?
Don't listen to Richard. What's your take on it? How do you feel about it? So coming from Arizona, different part of the country, how do you feel?
How do I feel? Well, I think that it's definitely a concern, obviously. It's something that, first of all, there's really no experts on Ebola because it's something that's common like the flu and the cold, and we don't even have experts on those. But the nurse that traveled, if you're talking about the same nurse that I think you're talking about, which was the nurse who was 26 years old.
Right, not FAM, not FAM, the first one, but the second one.
Okay, the second one. I can understand what Richard's saying with it coming really close to almost being like a police state is kind of what it sounds like he's hinting at. When you start taking away people's movements and rights and those kind of things. But like you said, when it comes to freedom, you also have the freedom to not have people out there knowingly who just came back from Sierra Leone and in contact with people who had Ebola and decide to keep it to themselves and wander around and possibly make this become a global epidemic because they don't want to self-quarantine themselves. A lot of that's about responsibility.
Right.
And humanity.
But don't we understand that the fact of the matter is people are going to reroute their flights. It's very easy to do, especially for global travelers. They know how to do that. We are Americans speaking on an issue that's already going to happen. These people can reroute themselves through other countries without representing that they just came from any one of the countries that are the epicenter of this disease. So that's in and of itself, that's not telling us anything. That's not realistic to think that all we got to do is look at a person's passport, particularly Africans who are well-traveled and who speak multiple languages. They can fly out of Luxembourg. So are you going to shut the flights off from Luxembourg? They can fly out of London. Are you going to shut off flights from London to America? You're right about the economy.
What
because that would collapse
is
it all.
that people who know, people who, not because of a passport, because they were in the hospital caring for this man who has Ebola, and you feel sick. If it was me, I would be going to the damn hospital. I'd be scared. I'd be worried that I had it. Not flying around to visit family or going bowling or going having a good time. You want to make sure that you're healthy. If you have family, you're going to put your family at risk for that because you don't want to sit your butt at home in quarantine. It's not about, to me, it's not the question of making sure everybody who came from a certain location goes into quarantine. It's people being responsible. If you know that you had contact, and there's records, obviously you're a nurse, there's record that you had contact, it's not like it's unknown, you need to be more careful. You need to be more aware of how your actions may impact others around you.
So let me ask you this. So what do you think about the fact that we're sending how many thousands of troops over to this area, and their job is going to be to help with the construction of hospitals and things like that?
Well, for one, to send troops is I'm not real happy with sending troops.
I mean, let's be real. I think it's batshit crazy. Like, what are you sending? And now here's my conspiracy mind spinning. So through the creation of organizations like AFRICOM, we've already expressed a genuine desired interest to occupy some places in Africa because of the wealth of resources and other, also because from a foreign policy standpoint, China is very well tied into Africa. I mean, they're building a lot of infrastructure and creating jobs, and so we have a vested interest on having troops there. And we're not just sending any old troops. We're sending like the 101st Airborne, like elite, we're sending some invasion force level troops over there. So it just makes me wonder, like, why would we send military personnel who don't have any medical training, and for all intents and purposes, even if they are going there to build hospitals, they're not construction workers. And they're already talking about they have the facilities set up to quarantine these people when they come back. It's like, that's a shitty job. I didn't sign up in the military to go in some, disease-ridden country and build hospitals. I mean, there should be, professionals that do that. And it's just, like I said, that my biggest concern is that have we created such a huge bureaucracy, CDC, that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, because the big debate that came out of the Dallas scenario was that you had the head of the Nurses Association who was upset with the head of the CDC, who kind of said, oh yeah, it was the nurses' fault, they broke protocol. But the nurses retaliated and said, well, wait a minute, we didn't break protocol. There was no protocol. In fact, when we called the CDC, they told us that they needed to call the Center for Disease Control, or we needed to call all these other agencies, and nobody gave us a straight answer. So there's that bumbling, that consistent bumbling of just, again, this right hand not knowing what the left hand's doing. So the soldiers is a part of it, and then you've got Obama, who has created this, I can't even think of his name right now, I'd have to look it up, but that's what happens when you don't take time to do notes for the show. But the Ebola czar, who, from what I understand, has no medical training. Like, who are you? Like, where did you come from, and what makes you a czar of Ebola when you don't come from a medical background? You know what I'm saying? So it's just, sometimes I look at what is going on and the way that this is being handled. Again, I'm not an official of any sort. I'm not an expert in any particular field, but I do have a little thing called common sense that would say that there are certain provisions and things that should be in place when you are dealing with something that is so potentially deadly as this, and is not being followed. And it's just at every turn we're doing something stupid that could potentially spread this and make it worse. So it begs the question, is this complete incompetence, or is this compartmentalized cooperation between agencies that really want this to spread? Because there's, again, it could be, is it the pharmaceutical angle? Is there, a vested interest in a revenue stream based off of people taking this, inoculation, or who knows what it is? But yeah, it's the twilight zone on steroids every day.
Yeah, that's kind of been my thought on it as well, and I'll just end it with saying that it's either, like you said, either they're completely incompetent, which the government is, and so that's not a far cry to say,
right?
Or it's being purposely done, or they just don't care.
Hey, our good
Either
friend
way,
from the state,
we're kinda screwed.
our old friend Rahm Emanuel said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." And so, whether the crisis is a result of pure incompetence or it's by design, best believe that the powers that be will not allow it to go to waste. So,
and we do know that our government has the patent on the Ebola virus, so there's definitely the money aspect coming in somewhere. So.
Absolutely. Hey, baby, I love you. Thank you for calling in and your continued
Doing
support.
Good.
I'll talk to you soon.
Listen.
That's what's up. Okay,
right.
So hey, let's go ahead and break here, man. Listen, we're gonna come back and we'll probably change gears. We'll talk about I don't know. We could talk about Ukraine and Russia. We could talk about ISIS. I really want to talk about ISIS. I really want to talk about ISIL. I really want to talk about the engineered boogeyman that the United States always creates to conveniently justify occupying land abroad and scaring the shit out of the American people to think that there's a boogeyman behind every fucking garbage can and every... Yeah, let's come back and talk about that, because that frightens me in a different kind of way, and I'll explain why when we come back.
It's not a boogeyman. It's a Muslim.
Yeah. No, totally. And that's... I'll leave it there. We'll come back to that, and I know you have an interesting perspective on that. Listen, the studio number here, in case you forgot, is 323-473-3100. Once again, 323-473-3100. Listen, I'm having a good time. We're just catching our sea legs, if you will. We're about to come back and hit the ground running. This is Shot Heard Around the World. I'm your host, Adam Dutch Cole. We'll be back after this short break.
You ever talk politics on hashish?
Police Cole Family is on Shaw Heard Around the World.
Flipping the script on you flimsy motherfuckers.
Back in the day, I know that, son. I know that. You know that. No, I know that. Shit. I miss all my niggas though, believe me, and I'll never forget none of them. So Tyree size, you know what I'm saying? Heady motherfucking all them wild ass niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, this shit is wild, though, bro. You know what I'm saying, y'all? Word up. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy shit.
This is Shot Heard Around the World with my daddy. My daddy is the host.
Africans and jinx, wild world of sport niggas snort coke by the seconds. Niggas projects filled with fiends injecting morphine. The guard seen more green and upstate cousin Reek almost got hit with 14. Chill, Paul, they gotta be a star when you come home. Like bones and let you rock my 3G stone. So see, cousin, yo, I was working, cats, I'm jerking. In uptown, these niggas acting like they hurting. Keys 24 a brick. Colombians be on some bullshit. That's why Poppy got hit. Stay tuned, word up. I hope to see you in June. By the way, I seen your bitch. She was up in this cat's room. Skied up, weed the fuck up. To top it off, look beat up. With two crack fiends hugging your seat up. I took care of that though, but don't worry about it. I got your back though. Yo, why's my niggas always yelling that broke shit? Let's get money, son. Now you wanna smoke shit. Chill, girl. Yo, the sun don't chill a lot. Let's sing these mathematics, son. Fly like cashmere. Last year, my team caught bodies in Grassmere. Hit a store owner named Mike Lavonia. Italiano, slanted eye, banging the fat Milano. Selling coke right out the bottle sometime. A nigga bought nines, accessible minds. Crazy beast buying keys in Greece. Was a rich nigga. Picture the nigga without dope figures. Condo with his chick, rocking a gold figure. Mafia flicks, tying up tricks was his main hobby.
Preaching and see Wu-Tang karate. Mixing drinks in clubs. Heavy chest with many minks. Nighttime rolling with Smicks. Extra live. He claimed he couldn't die. Top rank. 16 shots in his fist. Marana. He named the marijuana. Smoking ganja. Calling his weed by Sandra. Claiming New York was ancient Babylon. Where the sky stayed the color of gray. Like heroin, I can't front though. Truckloads of endo. Sooner blow slow. His ass is out now. Tally ho. Why's my niggas always yelling that broke shit? Let's get money done. Now you wanna smoke shit. Chill, girl. Yo, the sun
Flipping the script on you flimsy motherfuckers. Shot heard around the world with your host, Adam Dutch Cole. He will slap you in the mouth.
Slap you in the mouth, son. Word. I slap a motherfucker in the mouth, son. But out of love, though. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I'm not slapping you out of violence or like aggression or anger, but I need to wake you up out of your slumber, son. I need to hit you with some shit, some truth that makes you recognize your significance on this planet Earth, and that you need to get your shit right. You need to get yourself together. You need to listen. I love to be entertained. I love to do things. I like to watch UFC fights. I like to do all kinds of crazy shit. But at the same time, there's a balance in my life. I really am serious about trying to understand the way that certain things are and how they came to be, and from a historical standpoint, and what does that mean for my family and my community and all that kind of stuff. And that is something that we as people need to do. We need to participate in the race, if you will. And so I don't think enough of us do that. And all of us, and if you are just tuning in, welcome. Got a few more people that have joined us since the last break. My good friend Steve Maloof is in the building with us.
Whoa.
I haven't seen this guy in a minute, and he came with his homeboy Eric. What up?
Yo.
So our numbers have grown. The energy has increased. Our sphere of influence has dramatically boom. I told you. What I tell you? This is a beacon. People are going to be drawn to it like a moth to the flame.
It's your rock, man.
So anyway, yeah. So now that I got some men here, like I need to speak to. If you're listening right now and you're somebody, you need to understand. I need you to get involved. I need you to, and it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes a passion for life and an understanding of the significance of life. I was talking with my friend Steve right before the break about, he's got a little girl, 3 years old. I mean, having kids will definitely change your perspective on things. And I being the father of 5 children myself, that's really what drives me. Because I feel that I have to do everything I can. I have to go out kicking and screaming to try to create a world which will allow them to develop naturally and have the same rights and the same abilities to pursue whatever it is that they want to pursue. And if we don't understand that there is a constant struggle between the sovereignty of individuals versus the collective nature of the state, the tyrannical ideas of those who seek out power only for their own selfish means, we're going to find ourselves in very dire circumstances. And so before the break, we were talking about Ebola. Richard brought up some really good points. Like, this is the kind of thing that could put on the table for display the debate, You know, what is the right of a person? Whose rights supersede whose? And all this other kind of stuff. And, you know, with regards to some of the controversial topics that we talked about, you know, the depopulation aspect, the vaccination aspect, you know, one can't help but also bring up the infrastructure aspect. And what I mean by that is that this country has slowly, over the last couple of decades, created an infrastructure, if you will. And what I mean by that is that a lot of old decommissioned military bases have been transformed into holding facilities. So one can't help but draw the parallel when looking at what's going on with the potential Ebola crisis and say, are these, you know, FEMA camps being created for this, you know, specific event? And there's all kinds of other debates, you know, with the borders and, you know, the borders being open and all these kids from Central America coming over and the potential for, you know, the disease being spread that way. So we're living in a time right now where we need to not be afraid to engage in these discussions. And when we have these conversations, be willing to not argue about it, but entertain someone else's perspective. And my biggest, and I see you, Richard, I'm going to get to you, but I guess one of my biggest frustrations is because I spend a lot of time reading mainstream news, alternative news. I spend most of my time after I read the article reading the comments. And when you read the comment section, you really get a feel for how completely divided this country is and how at odds people are with each other. There's no more, you know, once upon a time I just envisioned this utopian scenario where Socrates and a bunch of philosophers were sitting around and they would have a conversation and the debate would be rigorous, but at the end of it, you respected that man's opinion and you walked away, hopefully with your own views shaped a little bit as a result of the debate. Now these people are like, yeah, man, fuck that and fuck you and fuck this. You're an asshole, and it's just we go nowhere. And so I believe that that is by design. Again, like we said at the very beginning of the program, is that this corrupt corporate infrastructure does not want a nation of informed, unified people, because that jeopardizes their stranglehold on the corruption that is them, printing money out of thin air, loaning it to people at high interest rates. I mean, just all the things that we are subject to, the things that are enslaving us. Richard Carr, I saw that you had a question, and I didn't want to. I'll ramble, bro. I'm feeling it. We're good.
Not as much a question as another statistic that's developing with this Ebola scare, right? Let's call it that, right? Well,
Scary Larry.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you start quarantining people from organizations, NROs, or NGOs rather, NGOs,
right?
Non-governmental organizations,
yep.
right?
Yep.
Start quarantining them because they've come back from those epicenters of the virus, right? You discourage other nurses and doctors from going there. There's that aspect of it I'd like to pose for you. What do you think about that? When you start quarantining people who've come back from those countries,
I mean,
who are doctors who, in fact, have worked in the hospitals.
Sure. I mean, I would say, if I was a doctor and I was either sent or chose to, by my own accord, to go to these places, I would kind of anticipate that being the protocol. I mean, if you go into a place as a medical professional and you know that you're going to a place where you could potentially contract a very deadly virus that has a high mortality rate and spreads, you know, we're not quite sure how exactly, I would think that those people would know that and willingly participate in what is the standard protocol. I think that they would have a higher degree of understanding, and that would lead them to want to actively do that, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, you know, I think that if you're a doctor, you got to anticipate that. If I was a doctor and I went out to Sierra Leone, I would say, okay, I just left. Yeah, I got, and we see that because some of the doctors, the doctor in Brooklyn, he broke his own self-imposed quarantine. So he knew that the potential existed for him to spread the virus, but he decided to, after a couple of days, go out and do his thing, go bowling and do whatever he did. So he broke his own self-imposed quarantine. So he obviously knew what the threat was, but for whatever reason, he decided to cut it a little bit short. And lo and behold, a day later, he's got 103 fever, and now we got all the things that are, you know, dominoing as a result of that. So, you know, lean in, bro. You can't lean back. You got to lean in.
Okay, well, I got a comment to make. You know, I actually just recently made an appointment for the doctors, and they asked me if I had been in contact with anyone who's been to South Africa within the past 20 days.
Right.
I actually have been.
Right.
My buddy just got back from South Africa, Johannesburg.
Okay.
I told him no because I was scared that if I told him yes, they were going to make it come down.
Hazmat suits were going to pop up. And,
exactly.
Right.
I told them no.
Yeah, and again, that's and like we talked about before you guys got here, my concern really is more the irrational fear of humanity versus actually contracting the virus. Listen, I'll be honest. When I came on my flight over here from Orlando, I was sitting next to kind of a light-skinned brother. He didn't look like he was from the U.S. He looked like he was, and I kept an eye on him. I was like, is this motherfucker, you know? But you have that, you know, that's a natural reaction to the circumstances, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's crazy that you had to experience that.
Are you implying I have Ebola?
No, sir, because I know that you've been in the studios of LA Talk Live.
African in the room, it seems, at this point. So is that what you're implying?
I would never imply such a thing, bro. Have you traveled to West?
One of the things that I thought about, though, Dutch, I want you to continue, but I thought about this. Think about this. Will this public scare make us more nervous around dark-skinned people?
Sure.
And then if you hear they talk like this, will that make you more nervous if you're not an African? If I'm standing beside you in Starbucks and I ask you, what does latte mean? They know what latte means.
I'll keep it 100.
I would. Multiple languages.
I would. I mean,
Wow.
like I said, I was looking sideways at the dude that I was sitting next to on the plane. I was like, this motherfucker better not call, son, or we don't have a problem. Yeah, but
inferences,
right? But that's media.
Ebola.
Like I would not be motivated.
You are the media, brother.
Okay, but
You're
what I'm
live
trying to
right
say
now.
is
See?
I think that
Look at
my
that
fear.
screen.
No, I know, but my fear would be justified, but not motivated by the racial aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I get what you're saying, but I'm not a racist per se.
But you probably would not be walking up talking like this. And not to say that all Africans talk like this.
No. Right. So are you
this is
fulfilling
probably
a
what you think
stereotype?
because you are all racist, probably.
You know what I mean? So,
and if I began to talk like this.
Yeah, but long story short, I mean, so we were
like
talking
Idi
about
Amin.
this, and so it's a big deal. There's a lot going on, so it's going to be interesting.
I kid
to
a little
see.
bit about it, Dutch. I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
just wanted
good.
to throw that
You got to
in there.
laugh,
Stir
bro,
the
because if
pot.
not, you'll go batshit crazy. I get it. I laugh
Batshit
all the
crazy,
time.
brother.
I got to. You got to keep an element of humor in all this stuff because life, even though as chaotic as it is, it's still worth living. It's still worth being around people and enjoying. Like, I don't walk around all day with books and like declassified documents like, holy shit, these motherfuckers is coming. Now, I do that sometimes. You know, there's a time for that. Like, I do sit in front of my computer at 3 o'clock in the morning and look, and then all of a sudden the room gets mad small and like, holy shit. Like, you start to see things, you start to connect the dots. But I don't live my life directed by that fear. And again, I think that comes from an innate quality, which is just I'm constantly optimistic about we as a species. I think that we just have something in us, and I think that that's what the elite often overlook, is that we have that, you know, because when you work for a corrupt system, you always got to be looking over your back. You know, the government, I kind of equate it to like a mafia. You know what I'm saying? You're friends of ours and you grease the palms and you're good, and that's how they promote within the realm of that corrupt system. But us out here, the good guys, like, we're not motivated by that. I'm not motivated by greed. I've spent thousands of dollars of my own money, not because I was looking to get a return on my investment. My only motivation was to try to engage people about subject matter that I thought was important, that they needed to know. You know, it's the analogy that I use is that, you know, life is a path. And when you walk down that path, you know, you come across a hurdle. You come across a pit with spikes at the bottom of it. Now, I got two choices. I could say, well, I saw it, but the next motherfucker behind me, well, hopefully he'll figure it out, or fuck that fool if he doesn't see it. You know what I mean? But I choose to camp out and start making signs and saying, yo, watch out, there's a pit right here, son. You're going to fuck your shit up. Like, hold on. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like, that's how I live my life. So I'm not motivated by that greed or that. And even when I was younger and still motivated by that ego, because I thought I'd found some cryptic shit that motherfuckers needed to know, and when they didn't believe me, I got mad about it. But now it's purely because I'm you know, a wiser, older gentleman who has life experience. It's just, again, it's really that sense of obligation that I have to inform people, because I got a genuine love for people, son. I mean, I got a genuine care for people. When I see somebody hurting or in pain or without, I've been that, so I understand what it feels like, so that I can relate to that person. You know what I mean? And so I think that, you know, we need to form communities. We need to, in the midst of our day-to-day activities, whatever it entails or whatever it encompasses, I think we can't be afraid to engage people about things of importance and things of relevance. And we live in a society that deters that. We live in a society that kind of shuns that. Like, no, you can't talk about this kind of things because it's taboo, or you shouldn't talk about that. Man, fuck that. we should be, you know, we as people, you know, that think we should be able to put these kind of things out on the table for debate and for analysis and to try to hone out, you know, and figure out what the root of the problem is. But I'm ranting. But I want to let's take a break real quick because we got something we need to do. You know what I'm talking about? So we can come back and revamp this. But if you're listening right now, I can't tell you how much it means to me that you're taking time out of your day or your evening to be with us this evening. If you have anything that you'd like to discuss, if you just want to say what's up, we'd love to hear from you. The studio line here is 323-473-3100. And we're going to be here for a while, and we got some more stuff to uncover. But I really want to get into this new creation, the Mujahideen, or is it Al-Qaeda, or is it now ISIS, or is it ISIL, or is it the Islamic State? It's amazing how the public relations arm of the United States government handcrafts these scary-sounding agencies that are going to blow up your buildings and take your life. So I want to talk about what's going on with ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it, and then, of course, whatever you'd like to talk about. One last time, studio line here is 323-473-3100. This is Shot Heard Around the World. I'm your host, Adam Dutch Cole. We'll see you after a short break.
You're tuned in to the most dangerous radio broadcast this side of the galaxy. Shot Heard Around the World with your host, Adam Cole.
Professional type, I'm adjusting my mic. Go to war, kid, I give you any weapon you like. Give you something to run from, but soft and dumb. Stop, kid, that hot shit, you know where it come from. It's Philly worldwide phenomenon, and reinforcing that shit is my 9 to 5. And when I finish making you recognize, I'm getting at a couple civilized women that's trying to ride. You been waiting on the border, come off the all. You wanna get the bitches up off the wall, just to see you smile and enjoy yourself, to keep you in health. This for all of y'all. I'm quick on the draw like Black McGraw, and I can't tell what y'all cats rap before. My name Big G's and I'm back for more. So you can get more chips than a corner store, with a portrait of Malcolm X on the door, while I'm eating MCs like a carnivore. Matter of fact, ease back before you get harmed. Ring a warning horn when I'm gonna perform, the first nigga that move or disturb the groove. I'ma have y'all flicks on the evening news. Play y'all part, get on y'all P's and Q's, and when y'all think thought, be prepared to lose. Bring money to spend and somebody to lend, and some worthwhile money, not 20s and 10s. Get took for your tuck right in front of your hands. Who could've helped you, nigga? Not none of your friends, because I put a black fist under your chin. Had your physical remains found under the pen. If I'm coming up in a place, I'm coming to win. Running in it for a minute, now I'm dumbing again. Read G's out, y'all can chat with y'all, please receive what I'm gonna get back to y'all, please. Cause y'all don't really wanna get clapped with all these, my man. You can take y'all strap when y'all leave. You see the squad coming to place, they all freeze. Ice cold with his mellow cool breeze. MCs never show loyalty yet. Cool hurt ain't never get a royalty check. I do work, no question, and bond the set. I'm calm, collect, sharp like my name Gillette. R.I.P. my main Gillette. Until I touch the mic, y'all people ain't seen danger yet. I'm a decorated vet, I regulate and wreck. Never hesitated yet, I'm getting heavyweighted checks. If you would dare ask if I'm dedicated, yes, I spit live rounds that'll penetrate a vest, nigga. Take your seats, I'ma demonstrate a test how to freak the beat so gangsta fresh in the thump. From the East Coast to Bangladesh, Big Bank, Willie Gang smoke this thing to death, but hold tight, cause it's not over yet. I don't even feel like I'm not sober yet. And it ring like shots in the projects, New Year's Eve, and it ain't even October yet. I'm a big bounty hunter like Boba Fett. Y'all more shell shocked than a soldier get. If the prize in my sights, then I'm going for this. Woo woo, read G's, be the ultimate. I'm the culprit, give me the bulk of this. Reset it on a magnetic ultra tip. Get down how you supposed to get. I got nothing to lose, I'm a killer with no regrets. I'm like young LL, cause I'm hard as hell. Make a nigga school face like Gargamel. Now I'm all out on my own like Patti LaBelle. Put the pimp game down on your mademoiselle.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust.
Fighting up the disease programming of centuries. Science has to recognize the single most important element of human existence. Letting the rains go to the unfolding is fade. I fail our world. Science has failed our mother.
Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. You're tuned in to LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
My mama and I'll be your boy. Original rude boy, never am
Yeah, 1, 2. Yo, we just wanted to come back on there real quick and thank you for being patient with us. We're in the middle of a little session talking about some important stuff, but we're going to be back after a few more minutes, so enjoy the music. Take this time to reflect on some of the things we talked about. And again, if you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. 323-473-3100. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we'll pick up where we left off. This is Shot Heard Around the World. We'll be back after this extended break.
firm and young with a laid-back tongue. The aim is to succeed and achieve at 21. Just like Ringling Brothers, our days in astound. Captivate the mass cause the prose is profound. Do it for the strong, we do it for the meek. Booming in your Jeep, or your Honda, or your Beamer, or your Legend, or your Benz. The rave of the town to your foes and your friends. So push it along, trails we blaze. Don't deserve the gong, don't deserve the praise. The tranquility will make you all your fists. For we put hip hop on a brand new twist. A brand new twist with a whole heap of mystic. So low key that you probably missed it. But yet it's so loud that it stares at the crowd. When the guy takes the beat, they bow. So raise up squire, adjust your attire. We have no time to wallow in the mire. If you're on a foreign path, then let me do the lead. Join in the essence of the cool out bleed. You cool out to the music cause it makes you feel serene. With the birds and the bees and all those groovy things. Like getting stomach aches when you gotta go to work. Or staring into space when you're feeling berserk. I don't really mind if it's over your head. Cause the job of resurrectors is to wake up the dead. So pay attention, it's not hard to decipher. And after the horns you can check out the Viper.
Sideways, but competition they must come straight way. Competition they must come sideways, but competition they must come straight way. How's about that? It seems like it's my turn again. All through the years, my mic is in my best.
This is Shot Heard Around the World.
This is JoJo on Shot Heard Around the World, and I think I'm at Grasshopper's house. I don't know.
Strictly hardcore tracks, not a new Jackson. I grew up as a Christian, so I give thanks. Collect my banks. Listen Skeff and Slim, he gets props too. Make sure you have a system with some fat house speakers so the new shit can rock. From Boston, Massapequa, cause where I come from, quality is job one, and everybody up on Linden know we get the job done. So peace to that crew, and peace to this crew. Bring on the tour, we'll see you at a theater nearest you.
Hey yo, but wait, back it up. Easy, back it up. Please let the abstract embellish on the cut. Back and forth just like a cameo song. If you dig this joint, then please come dance along to the music, cause it's done just for the mind. Now I gotta scat and get mine. Underline the jazz. The what? The jazz to move that ass for the job originates. That feeling of pizzazz. It's a universal sound. Bless the brothers on the ground. In the 1-6 below, you didn't have to go. Some say that I'm eccentric cause I once had an orgy. And sometimes for breakfast I eat grits and porgies. If this is a stinker, then call me a slink, I ask. Now check it out, all my peoples in Queens, you don't stop. Now all my peoples in Brooklyn, you don't stop. And all my peoples uptown, you don't stop. That includes the Bronx and Harlem, you don't stop. Now to that girl Ramel, you don't stop. I said because ladies first, you don't stop. And to the JBs, you don't stop. And De La Soul, you don't stop. And to my brand Nubians, you don't stop. And to my leaders of the new, you don't stop. And to my man Large Professor, you don't stop. Rock for the beat, you don't stop. Everybody in the place, you don't stop. You keep it on to the rhythm, you don't stop. And last not least, on the show shot.
Get 'em up high. Okay, yeah. Go all star. You get down for y'all. To the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, lift 'em up high. Okay, when that adrenaline get in their system, it get 'em out on a quest for stardom. Could be a motherfucking problem in Philly, Cincinnati, Los Angeles, or Harlem. Kids call themselves killers, let their hammers do the talking. Don't even know the meaning of life. Ain't seen a thing and you dream of flooding the scenery with yayo and greenery. But for now, you sticking them with the heavy machinery. Wonder how you lift it up. He only 17 and like everybody, he wanna shine. Young brothers gonna grind, holding something in their spine, bowling for Columbine. Stressing to me how it's all about a dollar sign. Dig the way you out of line, out of sight and out of mind. Up against the clock and damn near out of time. The tipping point has arrived, and that's the bottom line. To all my peoples, the stars, it's our time to shine. Let's get 'em up high. Come on, go all star. Get down for y'all. To the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, lift 'em up high. Okay, go all star. Get down for y'all. To the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, lift 'em up high. Oh, yo, ain't it strange how the newspapers play with the language? I'm deprogramming y'all with uncut slang shit. I know some people's in the party armed and dangerous. Twist some cool shoe pain, I'm going through changes. A grown ass man, I done paid my dues. Learn the rules, little homie, you could be one too. Niggas know, ain't no telling what he gonna do. But recognize, young girl, I'ma do it for you. You know why? We all stars and we highly evolved. Hip hop, it's not pop like Kylie Minogue. If it bang, them getting busy brothers probably involved in a game where everybody got a shot to draw. I guess you probably a thug. You all spoiling the rough. I can't call it, man. I got the ladies falling in love. Cause handsome, intelligent, tough. I'm all of your buff. I know you knew it. It's the movement. Move to it while you're doing it. All stop and get down for y'all. To the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, get 'em up high. Come on, go all star and get down for y'all. To the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, get 'em up high. Come on, introducing the band, you got to see to believe. He got the mic in his hand, so keep the heat up your sleeve. It's Black Thought, he rockin' sharp, so the speakers will bleed. I run a triathlon, you wouldn't see me fatigue. I'm a star, and maybe y'all should cop something to be. Or trade some of y'all equipment if it's something you need. Cause it's a lot of bullshit flooding the scene where everybody's a star. And hot shit is few and far between. We lose a grip of what garbage mean. Shorties wanna be they self, I know it's hard to be. Don't wanna do the Ruben Studdard and come off less threatening. Keeping the real kill you if you end up letting it. Ain't it blowing your mind how the game on the line? Now the best to the rest, we finna end up setting it. I tell you that I was a veteran, but it's evident. You act like you want it, you gon' end up getting it. Start and get down for y'all. And to the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, lift 'em up high. Come on, go all star, get down for y'all. To the ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, get 'em up high. Okay, go all star, get down for y'all. Young ladies in the house, I'm proud of y'all. You got the roots cool with the sound, of course. High, high, come on.
Everybody is a star. Everybody wants to shine.
Solutions, shot heard around the world.
Way back when in '67, I was a dandy, damn sweet things from Boston, so young and wheeling. Moved down to Scottsdale, where the hell am I? Hey, 19. No, we can't dance together. We can't dance. No, we can't talk at all. Please take me along when you slide on down. Hey, 19. That's Aretha Franklin. She don't remember Queen of Soul. Hard times befalling soul survivors. She thinks I'm crazy, but I'm just growing old. Hey, 19. No, we got nothing in common. We can't dance. No, we can't talk at all. Please take me along when you slide on down.
Doing it back in the tunes. Look at it. This grasshopper just grooving. Ooh, like a grasshopper do.
Skate a little lower now. The Cuervo Gold, the fine Colombian, make tonight a wonderful thing. Say it again. The Cuervo Gold, the fine Colombian, make tonight a wonderful
Heavy rotation since February 2011. This is Shot, heard around the world.
Booyaka Shot. Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for enjoying the soothing sounds of Grasshopper, providing the verbal, or I should say the audio landscape as we've been out and doing what we do. And I've always said it many, many times on many, many broadcasts. We need to find a way to kind of hook up some sort of recording device to catch the conversations that happen off the air, because we get into some pretty heavy stuff, man. And but really, that's what the purpose of this is. You know, you engage people in conversation, you get them thinking, you get their perspective, and before you know it, you know, stuff starts happening. So welcome back. If you're still with us, if you'd like to drop a line, say hello, something on your mind, you have a particular question, remember there are no right or wrong answers. Don't be afraid. Or if you are afraid and don't want to talk on air, feel free to hit me up on the Facebook page. You can ask a question that way. We'll take a look at it and see what's cracking. The studio line here is 323-473-3100. We would love to hear from you. Welcome back. How's everyone feel? You feel what now?
I feel an Irie, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Little motivation, if you know what I'm talking about. So before we took that long extended break, I said that I wanted to discuss the whole Middle East Muslim situation, the ISIL, the ISIS, the Al-Qaedas of the world. And before we get into that, I just want to say one thing, man. It's like this is what we're dealing with here. Collectivism is the enemy of freedom. Anytime that anybody tries to define a group of people with a broad brushstroke, that's when things like Nazi Germany happen. That's when people start getting taken to internment camps and things of that nature. Hey, what do you know? We have a caller. Caller, thanks for interrupting. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Judy, and I live in Los Angeles.
What's up, Judy from Los Angeles? How you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastically blessed. I mean, I'm alive. I'm not in jail. I'm not in the hospital. So, I mean, things really couldn't get much better. How are you this evening? What's going on? What's on your mind?
Great. I don't know if you know who this is, Adam.
Pardon?
I don't know if you know who this is.
I don't, but keep talking and maybe I'll figure it out. I haven't been in California for a minute, so help me out.
Yeah, I know. This is Judy, and I believe you used to have our friends or his coworkers, ex-coworkers of yours. I don't know if you remember Francine and Pamela.
Oh, yeah. What's going on? Okay. It's all ringing the bell now, and I hear cackling in the background, so there must be a hen house happening right there. What's going on?
How are you? By the way, I'm Juan's roommate now.
I know. Well, I know. I was there today, and I was mad I didn't get a chance to see you. So, yeah, I missed you. How are you?
Hey, Adam. Welcome back.
Hey. What's up, Francine? How are you?
Even if it's for a little role.
Did you get your session today? Did Juan set you straight? Is Pam there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No. They came a little too late. But anyway, it's so good to hear your voice and, just to hear, it brings back memories when we used to go into the studio.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Give you a shout out, seriously.
Well, I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you calling. It's very, it's surreal and nostalgic all at the same time to be back in the studios. And so, most definitely.
Good times, though.
No doubt. Well,
but
hey.
On a side note, I don't know if you guys have talked about this today, but I don't know if you've noticed that on the Georgia Guidestone, there was actually an add-on made about a month and a half ago.
I saw that. I did see that crazy little mysterious brick that's been added that has the year 2014 on it. Yeah. So for those of you listening that aren't familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, there is a monument that was erected somewhere outside of Atlanta in Georgia. And there are a variety of rumors associated with who actually erected these stones. But in essence, they're like these big monolithic stones, and carved on them, and I think it's 13 or 14 different languages, is supposed to be the New Earth Charter. And it's got kind of like a list of, I think it's 12, 13, 14 different points of what the new world will consist of. And the troubling aspect of these stones, outside of the fact that we really don't know how they got there, is the first one says, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, trying to pull from memory, but it says something to the effect that Earth should remain in perpetual balance with nature by keeping a population of 500 million people, I believe it is. So when you put that in light of the current almost 7 billion people on the planet, what they're talking about in essence is about a 90 to 95% population reduction to reach that scary number of 500 million people. So yeah, and so what she's talking about is that recently there's a mysterious new little brick that was added to it, and it has the year 2014. So those that follow this alternative kind of information, and those kooky conspiracy theorists are wondering what was the nature of this, where did it come from. And of course, one, as I'm sure you can agree, Judy, one can't help but notice the significance in the placing of the stone, especially in the midst of this crazy Ebola scare and everything else that's happening. So it's pretty interesting.
It is.
What's your take on it? What do you think? What have you heard?
Well, that's the thing. I haven't really looked into it. I just saw that and I was just taken aback, especially with the full Ebola scare.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, ever since the monuments have been erected, there hasn't been any add-ons until today. So I do find it interesting that they would add this year, if that's what it really means, 2014.
It has been defaced a few times, though. I've seen some graffiti and stuff like not too long ago. Somebody went out there and kind of defaced the monument. So I found that to be a kind of an apropos justification, like the rebellion. Like, yeah, we're gonna mark up this nasty monument that's a monument to the New World Order, if you will, if that's what you want to call it. But yeah.
No, I just wanted to get your input and see if you have found any
Yeah.
other information.
I mean, I haven't really delved into it, but I do find it I do find it odd, and you know, again, in this crazy Twilight Zone episode that we find ourselves in on a daily basis, I mean, I look at and I try to analyze all sides of the story. I mean, is it a nefarious organization that's trying to indicate that 2014 is the year where their plan goes into effect? Or is it just some crackpot who made his own little 2014 and just put it up there so that he could get, you know, hits on YouTube? So I mean, you never know. You have to be willing to scrutinize everything almost with a fine-tooth comb in terms of information, because I believe that as powerful as information is, there's also, you know, if the elite are who we think they are and they say they are, then they understand the pervasiveness and the power of information as well. So I do believe that there is a very large disinformation campaign in the midst of everything that's going on to kind of steer people away from the truth. So, but you never know. But I think the important thing is that when we see these things, we have to be willing to, again, have the conversation. You know, I tell people all the time, I don't have all the answers, but we're not afraid to ask the questions. And so in a free thinking society, we should ask these questions. We should look at the things that we see and say, hey, like, where did that come from? So I appreciate you bringing that up, though. That's definitely something that's that's been on my radar. And now that you've kind of refamiliarized my mind with it, I'm definitely going to do some more research into it.
Please, and let me know what you find out. I mean, I'll be doing this research on
We do
my
the same
own,
thing,
and
let's
so,
compare notes.
You'll have to do it. Exactly.
No doubt. Well, hey, listen, ladies, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate it. We've been kind of flooded with calls tonight. It's really a cool thing to not be on the air for almost 3 years, and then all of a sudden we get a bunch of people calling in. So this is great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, Adam. Everybody says bye.
Bye. Hopefully I'll see you all before I leave. Bye. Awesome. Hey, yo, that's what's up, son. But see, that's what I mean, though, is that, you know, this is the results of years of labor, and the fruits are, you know, appearing. We're seeing that, you know, we reach people, we get them thinking, and so that's really what my whole purpose behind this program and pretty much all the things that I've done with regard to this particular information is just ask the question. You know, how many people, you know, go to the bank every day and pull money out and really have no idea how that system works, really have no at all kind of understanding of what fractional reserve banking is, or what's the origins of the Federal Reserve system, and you know. But what happens, though, is that you just ask questions, you do the research, and you find the answers. That's what's amazing to me. When I was a young kid, if I wanted to go and dig up some information, like, I'd have to go to the library and use the Dewey Decimal System and like maybe find some microfiche and all that kind of stuff. And now we've got this wonderful double-edged sword called the internet, where you can go and actually, you know, you can find people who have taken the time to go and you know, through Freedom of Information Act, had documents declassified and that kind of stuff. And I grab onto that stuff. Like, if you guys were to go to my house right now, I've got plastic bins full of shit that I've printed off the internet. It says stamped, declassified right on it. And I do that because you never know when that information is going to be gone. So you got to get the hard copy, you know what I mean? So you can show people. But I love showing people, like, this is, you know, as crazy as some of the stuff that we talk about, whether it's, you know, 9/11 being an inside job, or depopulation through vaccinations, or if we talk about an infrastructure for Homeland Security where FEMA camps are being created. Like, there are almost mainstream publications and people talking about these things. So it's pretty much left the realm of conspiracy theory. It's just, it's out in your face. You can, if you want to do the research, it's there, you know. But again, the important thing is that in the midst of that research, be able to have a tool called discernment, when you can take the information and say, yeah, that's not necessarily the truth. You know what I mean? And that's what I do. I spend a lot of time not just researching, but you got to sit with it. You almost got to meditate. You have to use, you know, the common sense, let the wheel spin and kind of, you know, figure it out. Grasshopper,
what's up, bro?
You got to have something to say, bro. He's got nothing to say. He's got nothing to say.
The FEMA camps are interesting. That whole topic is.
It's interesting, and it's frightening.
I got a friend that he swears he's a conspiracy theorist.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that the Russians are gonna come over here.
I think he's seen Red Dawn one too many times.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He thinks Russians are gonna come over here.
But so now, all jokes aside, okay, there have been to validate a little bit your friend's claims. Foreign troops for many decades, Polish, Czechoslovakian, Russian troops have been training domestically here in the United States. I mean, you can see videos of them. And so one has to wonder, what is the purpose of that? And so when you think about it and you take time, this is the conclusion that I've come up with. In the event of an emergency, in the event of a martial law scenario, it's going to be much easier for UN troops to come over here and handle domestic situations, whether it requires shooting Americans or whatever, or ramming them up into camps, than it would for American troops. So American troops are going to be more inclined to kind of rebel against the government. That's what's always happened. So that, I mean, that's definitely a part of it. But the scarier and even more science fiction aspect of it is that you're now talking about the Pentagon is preparing to make a robot army. See, now you don't even have to worry about the human, defense mechanism that doesn't necessarily want to kill. Now you have an autonomous robot that you can program to just go out and round people up and kill them indiscriminately. Right. We see that happening right now with the drones and people, when you live in a society where human life has been reduced to and defined as collateral damage, that's a scary thing. So, the people, and I always point to 9/11, and people will say, well, yeah, but if 9/11 was an inside job, why will we kill our own people? These people have value. Human life doesn't have any value to them. We're a resource, and anything that we do, we're expendable as long as the ends justify the means. And so it doesn't matter who or what entity or what organization, all that kind of stuff. And that's a scary thing, and that's kind of where we're at. There's no regard for humanity. And so now, kind of segueing into this whole ISIL thing, we live in frightening times now where the debate is, and at least what I hear in mainstream circles, is Islam by nature a nefarious or evil belief system? And so people are starting to gravitate towards that, and that's a scary thing, because you're now taking a broad brush and defining 1.2 billion people on the planet and saying that your belief system is inherently evil. How do you deal with that? I believe that we have a caller. Richard, is that right? Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Good evening. Welcome to Shot Heard Around the World. Who's this?
Booyaka.
Yeah.
Shot Heard Around the World, son. It's your man Distinct from Dallas again.
You called back, bro.
Stringer.
All right, what's up? Call back as many times as you want, bro.
Man.
What's going on?
You guys touched me tonight. You guys touched in on a couple topics that kind of sparked a little interest. More so the science fiction aspect of things.
Yep.
As well as the depopulation of the planet. You know?
Right.
I mean, everybody knows that. Well, maybe everyone doesn't know. And that's the purpose that you guys are sort of providing for people, is that everyone doesn't know that, there isn't enough food, there isn't enough water. California right now, the same reason I told you earlier, Dutch, like, that's why I bounced out, man. Nuclear reactors, earthquakes, tidal waves, the whole nine, man. Like, I don't want to sound grim.
No, but I think
I put myself into that state of mind for a second, but like, it doesn't really paint a pretty picture if everybody catches my drift.
I mean, Murphy's Law is still in effect, right? And the nature of life is such that it's very chaotic. I mean, people, if you just stop and realize that we're basically on a rock spinning through outer space, I mean, the potential for any disaster and to rear its ugly head in any form is possible.
Personally, I think that everyone that is alive today already realizes the level of chaoticness in the world, and they just choose to ignore it, man. It's
well, you know what it is, though.
Makes them feel happy,
sure.
And it's very selfish, very inconsiderate.
Right. Well, because you know what happens, though, is that when you start to dig and you start to find stuff, I mean, it requires action. It really does. It really does. And so most people don't want to get involved. Most people, we live in this society where somebody else will take care of it. Somebody else, some other agency, some other entity is going to come and provide, that helping hand.
On the government level.
Yeah. I mean, but how many times have we shown their inability to do? what they were originally created to do. I mean, how many times do we have to experience a Katrina or a Hurricane Sandy where these poor people have lived in in this lifestyle where, oh, it's okay, you know, if something were to occur, I've you know, FEMA's going to come and help me out, or you know, blankets and food.
Up is that, you know, 90. I'm going to drop that down a little. Maybe 80 to 72% of Americans don't give a shit, because it doesn't affect them directly. And what you guys are doing right now is affecting those that are locked in directly.
Right.
And it might be a fraction of a percent, but I don't know. To me, it's more than what's been getting handed out, you know?
No, I feel you, man. Listen, I believe there's a physical aspect to it. I believe there's a spiritual aspect to it. And you being someone who's into, you know, the kind of music that you produce and stuff, like there's a frequency aspect to it. And I think that as we become more and more aware, we start to resonate at a higher frequency. And I think that, you know, as we get more people to resonate on that frequency, that's where we start to make a real change. You know what I mean? You know, the Schumann resonance of the planet Earth. I mean, we resonate on a frequency. You go back and look at Tesla's, all the stuff that he was into, and you know, there's definitely something to that. And so that's really what I try to do. Like I said, I'm a seed planter. I go and I create frames of reference, and I give people information, and I just say, you know, you don't have to necessarily do anything with it. If you don't want to believe it, hey, that's great. But just remember, and just pay attention. Right, and you'll see. You'll see. You know, and the thing, and like I said, the thing of it is, it's the nature of mankind, unfortunately, with power. And I don't mean to sound grim, but I think that we as a species are going to be locked in an ongoing, perpetual cycle of tyranny, a small group, an oligarch, a tyrant that dictates, and it may even start out with the most benevolent of means to, you know, well, this is what we need to do for the good of society. I'm managing the resources of the planet, and I'm divvying them out as I see fit. Well, what happens, though, in that cycle is that the people eventually are squeezed so tight that they rebel, and they are able to overthrow that system and put something new in place that represents the people. And so when people are free, they're able to create. And when they create, they become very wealthy, right? And when they become wealthy, unfortunately, the next stage in that cycle is decadence and then apathy. And then that allows those who seek power to come back in while people are asleep at the wheel and reinstitute that tyrannical system of government. So I think just kind of the nature of people, it's going to be that constant cycle of tyranny, rebellion, liberty, wealth, prosperity, apathy, tyranny. You know, it's going to keep going on. So, I mean, that's just, you know.
I kind of think that, you know, the average, everyday, like, I'm happy to go to work and bust my ass for X amount of hours for shit pay. The average person is happy that they even have a job, and so I don't know, dude. Like, it's like it fucks with their entire thought process. They're on out.
Hey,
know?
Bro, listen. I hear you 100%, and I tell people I've
become complacent
right
with what they have, and they think that they have a lot, but it's like all material shit. You know, it's nothing that you can take with you. If you could take anything with you from the get-go.
Right.
You know, and they just become extremely complacent with, well, you know, my life's happy right now, and fuck it, I don't really care about anybody else. Don't try to, like, be friends with me because I don't want to be your friend. Like, I'm happy where I am right now, and to me, that's the kind of shit that freaks me out, dude. But on a side note, not even a side note, jump off to the second. The reason why I called back in from the get-go is you brought up, like, you know, the future and government and, you know, robots and shit. And I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that, you know, I'm a software developer, man. Like, you took me into your home. I took what knowledge you provided me as a big brother and bounced out and became whoever I was destined to become.
So you've got
And
it. So
I
you've
write
got some
software
of an
for-
inside track with regard to where technology is going, because I think that we're entering into what Aldous Huxley wrote about in his book Brave New World. You know, that we're really entering into a scientific dictatorship with a technological overlay, where now
Man, it's scary.
Right, and
It's
so
the
going,
type of
but going back to
information that I have access to,
right.
and it's very scary, and people are just willingly handing it over.
Well, I say it all the time, bro. I recognize and I realize that we're dealing with a mass of people who are injured, who are damaged through the education system that they've received, through the indoctrination that they've received, through the federally mandated school curriculum, through
genetic.
Absolutely, through genetic means, through biological and chemical, electromagnetic. I mean,
my wife is a nurse, and she calls it generational dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you hand down traits that you got handed to. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were a kid, shit you didn't like, beatings and fucking, you know, the harsh punishments and shit like that. And you do the same shit to your kids, and you don't know why. You know what I'm saying? And she refers to it as generational dysfunction. You know, and there are certain people out there that hand shit down like that, and they don't even realize it.
No, it's crazy how certain traits just they seem to stay in the DNA, and you're right, it is passed down. But I'm gonna let you go because we got some other people that are getting ready to call in. But I'm gonna continue talking about this particular subject because you bring up a very good point about the technological aspect.
You know, like the first thing that popped into my mind was Tom Clancy, and I'm gonna leave you on this.
Yeah.
All the games and books that Tom Clancy has written,
right?
Everything that dude says is basically coming to life right now.
Sure.
There's no fiction or video game or anything about that. From Rainbow Six to, you know, every game that he has created has been telling people basically what to look out for.
Sure, predictive programming to a sense. Yeah, totally, bro. Hey, man, listen, I appreciate you calling back again, man, and we got to make sure that hit me up on Facebook and make sure you send me your number so we can talk off the air and we got to connect, man. We got to try to find a way to get you up and running over there with regard to this information so you can start. Got to get these grassroots movements going, man. It's important for you to be involved. So I appreciate you calling in tonight, bro.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dutch.
No doubt. So yeah, let's take another break, man. And I still want to talk about ISIL. I still want to talk about technology, man, because really that's the key. And like he said, you know, these people that write these books, the George Orwells, the Aldous Huxleys, the Tom Clancys, like they're not necessarily like prophets. You know, how did they know? They were just able to see the trends. They were able to see where the world was going with regard to technology and with regard to, you know, and they could foresee that these things were destined to happen in a sense. And so once upon a time, if you were a king, you would need to send your trusted troops out to your province to make sure that order was maintained, right? And you had to trust that when they got out there that they weren't, you know, stealing your land and your livestock, that they were going to go out and represent you, right? Well, now we don't need kings to send out troops anywhere because we have this crazy thing called the internet, which we're on right now, and we could simultaneously broadcast an emergency message through your phone and tell you something that will scare the shit out of you. And then you're going to have a group of people who are awake, and they're going to say, I don't believe it. Then you're going to have the other side of the group that says, wait a minute, what's wrong with those people? Why aren't they getting in line right now? This is a great travesty. And then as we're hauled off to the FEMA camps, they'll be standing on the sideline cheering and saying, I don't know what's wrong with them, but we're on the right side of the law. So with that being said, let's take a short break. Wrap your mind around what was said. This is Shot Heard Around the World. We're armed with the motherfucking truth. We're driving a semi packed with truth down the information highway. This is Shot Heard Around the World. I'm your host, Adam Dutch Cole. Be back in a sec.